No. What it do? What it do? So we got a little Ignarist Take that we're gonna be doing with different little things. We're kind of gonna just go on little tangents, honestly, because I kind of pulled a few things.
Oh,
about
whoops!
the
You guys
debate.
just started. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
You
just kind of
started?
said fuck it.
So I guess you wanted me to react to some things.
Well, not even necessarily that, but well, I guess so. But I guess just bullshit and shit. I don't know what to drink first. This hard seltzer or this cider. I'm doing the seltzer.
Do a heads or tails.
I'm doing a seltzer because I'm a big seltzer shill.
I haven't tried this.
From America,
I've just sold out to Big
where
Seltzer.
we sell out to Big Seltzer. America.
And in case I don't got no money, you know what I do? I just suck the CEO's dick.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, we're stopping that. But I was actually TJ just uploaded a video with actually, I'll pull it up here.
You seltzer daddy. Pull it in.
I don't know who's gay or you or me. Just want to put that out there. Anyway, so what I was listening to was this by TJ uploaded it, but it was covered by Marshall Mansion. I just kind of wanted to at least clarify what was going on in the background. Like, what the fuck is happening for the first minute and a half? And honestly, y'all should take a listen. It's pretty good. The music video I've seen a bunch of times because he has on BitChute he has what was I about to say? He has that up there with the originals.
You mean had the uncensored version? Or?
Well, there's no censoredness about it. It's just a cover that Marshall Manson made up so he can upload this because he just wanted to upload this. And he's like, how do I do it? Oh, cover, Marshall Manson. Fuck it. So there you go. But, yeah. As you can tell, I usually get 11 article bits, but I don't really get that much. But I feel like we'll be able to digress into various different things. But anyway, get this out of here. So, fuck. I just got out of a thing accidentally. Oops.
Whatever.
Well, it ain't just whatever. I'm going to actually go back to it because it was an important thing. So, since you actually didn't see everything, what was I about to say? Everything wise for clips, I'm going to kind of... Yeah.
Andrew Yang
So,
and his big fat wang gonna give you free money.
So, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go to the clips first because I just kind of wanted to, might as well at least give you at least a little some insight what's going on and shit. But this is interesting. These are just
the amount of likes in this video are 3 digits above, and that that just pisses me off.
669. What, you're not happy there's 69? Well, fuck you then. Anyway, I mean, we don't really need it. Well, I guess actually we do.
But we shouldn't have any illusions that impeaching Donald Trump will, 1, be successful, or 2, erase the problems that got him elected in 2016.
According to
So it very much was just saying there, hey, just talking about Trump doesn't actually help the situation overall. And I guess Meghan McCain praised. I don't give a fuck what she thinks, but
I fucking hate that bitch with a burning passion. She should go burn in hell with her father.
I just don't care about her, dude. She's literally just riding the coattails of her father's record in his past life and shit. And honestly, dude, I don't know if you noticed it, but dude, during the debate, there was that one point. It was actually in the final statements. It's what friendship surprised you? That was literally the final statement question, and Bernie, Klobuchar, and Biden all sucked the McCain dick, dude. It was just what the fuck is going on here, bro? Yeah.
Even if I wouldn't be a popular candidate, I kind of would be. But people would still call me out because I'd say, you know what? Fuck McCain. I'd say it right there on the podium, and I wouldn't give a fuck.
Well, it's Tulsi, not. I mean, it was just about what's.
If I was Tulsi, I would have cussed everybody out. You know what? I ain't got nothing to lose. I know I'm not going to be president, but I'm going to take some people down in the debate.
She
so
tried.
I could get their votes down.
I don't know. I mean, at
she
this
did
point,
that to Kamala Harris. She fucking raped the shit out of her, dude. She it was like mud wrestling, It was like, between her and fucking Kamala, she just fucking, took her by the crotch and took her like by the fucking shoulders, slammed her down, broke her fucking spine, and then forced her to lick her butthole.
I don't know. Not really. I mean, here's the times. I had a feeling you were going to say some shit. Yeah, I mean, well, here's Harris. She had about like 12 and a half minutes of speaking time while Gabbard only had
like
8
minutes.
Yeah, so with what time she had, she didn't really have much of a chance to say anything really anyway.
I know, but like, I don't know.
Look at this. I mean, just like Warren and Biden. I mean, that makes
like Bernie.
I mean, this makes sense.
Bernie didn't have like only a few seconds shorter than like Klobuchar, but like in the time that Bernie was there, like he did a better job.
Yeah.
Than Amy Klobuchar. Like Klobuchar.
And he's third in national polling, but yet fucking Klobuchar is.
I'm surprised that like they actually managed to like label all the fucking subjects that they were talking about.
I know, right?
In the New York Times, because like then again, the New York Times is still kind of biased. I mean, like what I would do for some of these candidates is like
quick
no
substance. Side tangent. So I'm not shitting you. I had to fucking like make a goddamn stupid fucking account, which by the way I'm not actually subscribed to because it's just like you have one free week. And also look at the bottom. It says you have 4 free articles left for today. So it's just like, they just...
That's fucked.
Yeah, I had to make a stupid fucking account because it's getting ridiculous because there's a lot of...
get in their exclusive news club. What the fuck,
It's
dude?
like $1 a week or some shit, but
it's so much for free press. Wow.
Yeah, right.
So much for our first fucking amendment.
Yeah, it's only the first 4. Yeah, and it says you can create a free account, but then, oh, wait a minute, there's a caveat. So I said, fuck your caveat. So fuck you. Like, I mean, fuck New York Times anyway. I just wanted to pull some of this shit up. I mean, it gets into... Well, there's another thing up here. Where was it? Was this it? Was this seriously fucking it? I thought there was a little more into this. Get full highlights. Oh, wait. I thought I was thinking maybe I can click those, but let's see what it says here.
It's quite funny to see how Kamala Harris is actually flailing.
Takeaways. Orange Jaws fire for a change. First time Sir Miss Warren was frequently called out and criticized by her rivals because she's at this point practically the front runner. No shit. Mr. Biden called her health care plans vague. Oh my God, I gotta show you that because it is.
Biden calling her vague.
All right, I'm looking at it. Hold up.
Talk about the pot calls the fucking kettle black.
Anyway, actually,
yes, I'm a little buzzed right now. It'll wear off in a few minutes.
That's not true. Anyway, here, let me look it up. Here, because this will be actually a great thing to... oh, here we go. I think this is it.
The top 3...
Shut up, Kyle.
Actually, both of them. Vice President, who are you saying is being vague?
Yep, here it is.
Well, the senator said she's being vague on the issue of... Actually, both of them being vague on the issue of the...
Bernie?
Medicare for all.
Oh, Medicare for all.
Bernie? He wrote the fucking bill. He wrote the goddamn fucking bill. This is drunk autistic rage right here. This fucking senile fuckwit who's gonna fucking like bleed out of her eye any fucking point at any time is gonna tell us that Bernie is being vague.
I knew it. I knew this would happen, yes.
I wish I could get in the fucking screen, get on the podium.
Careful.
Strangle him.
No, no.
Get back in the screen, and then just laugh at everybody crying and flailing and like, just running out of the fucking venue. But sadly, it happened last night, 2 nights ago. I don't remember. Just
Tuesday.
fuck him. Oh my God.
You dropped the mic.
Down. DEFCON mic. DEFCON mic.
Wow.
I hope nobody hurt. You'll have to edit that sound out. Whatever horrible
I'm
sound
not
it
editing
made.
shit. We're just going with
God.
it, dude. Dude, what's so funny is that, dude, he's saying they're like. What's so funny is that it's like there's nothing vague about it, dude. It's like literally one of the most thorough fucking like healthcare plans like literally ever. I think like like it's
he's literally lying.
It literally just shows that fucking Biden has nothing, and he's just a senile fart.
Literally. He's not laying.
He's just a senile fart who's just literally worth goddamn nothing on. He's a nobody, dude. Like fuck this old like no one. I'm surprised that he's like second in polls, dude. I'm surprised about that. Like, what the fuck? It's just like you're going to, say, it's so vague.
It just makes me mad. It just gives us another reason to open Auschwitz.
Oh, my God.
Like, what kind of moron for Biden? And
anyway, like...
boring old Joe Biden talking about his youth when he worked at a fucking pool and how he came across
pop, I'm going to beat corn pop like a drum and whip a chain around his neck.
What the fuck kind of gangster would be called Corn Pop? Yo, my name's Corn Pop. Don't fuck with me, man. Don't fuck with Corn Pop. Corn Pop gonna fuck you up. gonna cap a fucking
Corn Pop gonna make you flop. I tell you what.
You gonna cap an
I'm a poet and I don't know it.
He's from a
and you
family
don't want to fuck with me
from the Midwest, and they just make corn. So he's gonna shove a fucking ear of corn in your ass, man.
Okay, okay. Well, I don't know what you're doing, but it needs to stop. Stop. Oh God, end the pain. End the pain. You're killing the corn pop. You are killing corn pop somewhere out there. Like out there somewhere is corn pop just dying very slowly.
Corn pop's already fucking dead. He probably killed himself after seeing the cringe of Joe Biden.
Reenacting the story. It's. Oh man, I mean,
I'm apologize for what I said to you, but not for letting you out. Like, what the fuck kind of story is that? That's just retarded.
It's incredibly conversation. Well, no, well, hold up. I mean, I don't care about
happen.
For starting conversation on automation is incredibly impressive. Anyway, let me go back into this a little bit real quick.
American jobs could be lost to automation in just the next 10 years.
I'm even willing to pilot something like UBI and to see how that would work.
I agree with my friend Andrew Yang. I think universal basic income is a good
idea. Like, I noticed this in debate. Everyone's kind of jumped on the Yang thing.
Free money! Yeah!
Basically.
People think critically about what's being said around them. You're provocative. The acronym for math, Make America Think Harder. It's
math. I mean, it's not. Honestly, let's just be fair. He's not necessarily making people think harder. They're just like, money,
free money,
1,000 a month,
free money.
I am so down. Oh yeah,
free money.
$1,000. Oh yes.
I don't have to suck dick for crack.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. 1,000 a month. Oh yes.
We get it. Ignore.
Shut up.
Help me. Oh God.
I'm gonna unplug your mic. I will unplug your mic if you continue this. I'm starting to regret this now. Oh no. Oh man. Anyway. What else? What else can we find?
I feel like the more I drink, the better this tastes.
So here's actually some results from here we are. Which candidates made it outside? Okay. So here's like pre-debate favorability, and then debate performance. So, oh man, this is ridiculous. So, as seen here, it seems like I think just because Gabbard took some shots at, I don't know, like Gabbard like went down. Pretty much these reds are going down, and all the blues are going up. So,
what pisses me off?
Here's before debate and after debate.
How she's below Tom Steyer. That fuck that guy.
Well, he bought his way into the debate, dude.
Yeah, that's why he bought his fucking way in.
How does he have?
That is antithetical to democracy.
No, hold up, dude. Look at this. How does he have two? Like how two? Like how's he get two fucking? Like who? Like who are you? Go away, man. Go away.
Just fuck off, Tom Steyer. Just fuck off.
Here's who needs to. Here's who needs to go away. Dork.
Beta
Castro.
Rourke. Yeah.
I mean, Harris, Booker, Steyer, Klobuchunt.
Oh, Biden needs to fucking go.
Dude, look at this. Somehow Klobuchunt got the most, change in this thing or whatever the fuck. Wow, it really kind of shows off the bias, honestly, of...
Yeah, like, Amy Klobuchar has nothing to fucking offer on the debate.
She's just a fucking Republican, dude. She's literally just a fucking Republican.
Has Republican arguments, and then, like, she gives us the most milquetoast answers. She has no fucking substance to offer. Like,
and, of course,
nothing.
Kamala Harris is the one who's trumping it up all the fucking
Except
time.
she was... Oh, yeah.
Kamala Harris...
I can't believe they actually have, like, a graph mentioning Trump. Oh, this is how many times they mentioned Trump.
I mean, in a weird way, it's actually kind of interesting because Bernie Sanders only mentioned him 4 times. Fucking Warren mentioned him 5 times. Gabbard 6. Yang 9 times. And Harris...
more about...
Well, the funny thing is, Yang didn't even necessarily go after Trump. He just was mentioning him by name. It was literally just... So these are just mentions.
Kamala Harris's campaign in a nutshell. Identity politics.
Trump.
Orange man bad.
Yeah,
Identity
basically.
politics.
That's kind of why I wanted...
Triggered.
This is why
Feminism. Orange man bad.
I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to show this because, you know, it's kind of interesting to see this and also just show where the bias is. Because, I mean... well, here, let me go back on this stupid fucking thing. Fuck you, New York Times. Anyway, so, like, with this... Like, this just shows CNN's bias, and honestly, they were the biggest fuck-ups out of anybody. And also, they added 2 people. Like, oh my god. Like, honestly, even at this point, I'm starting to, like, you know, because we need to cut the fucking fat down. Like, it needs to just be Sanders, Warren Biden, Yang, and Buttigieg, and it's pretty much it. That's just because of polling and shit. They're the top 6. They're the top 6.
Anywhere.
Beyond that, the fat just needs to be cut. I mean, that includes Gabbard, honestly, at that point. It's not that I don't like her, but... Like the fat needs to just be
decent than the other people's. Like
I mean, the whole point of why they had so many fucking people in the first place is because they want to lessen the speaking time for Sanders, for fucking Yang and Gabbard.
Targeting the ones that are actually getting support.
I mean, there was literally one point where Sanders talked for like. Or didn't talk for like 30 minutes. And then they ask him a question basically like, so you were sick and had a heart attack. When are you going to die? You know, basically. You know, from that.
When are you going to die? Fucking bitch.
I don't know who she was, but fuck her.
Yeah. She should just get...
No, it's just... We get it. He said on stream.
She should get her fucking hands cut off. And then fed to her. No, I'll feed them to their children unknowingly. Okay, hey, how do you like the taste of your mom's hands?
What the fuck, man?
Fuck this bitch.
Oh my god, like it's what? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. What to even say, sir? What to even say? Oh my goodness. Anyway, like this still fucking boggles me, fucking Klobuchar.
Like, imagine, like, you know, inviting her to a show.
We are the Klobuchar.
And then just, like, interrupting her every time she's trying to speak.
So, I figured... oh, God. I figured we'd just kind of delve into some, like...
You want some face with that fucking makeup there? Jesus Christ. How many layers do they need to go?
She's not human. Anyway, so... so... CBS thought
Barbie doll
thought they can be like, hey, how about we do like, let's portray all like the mild critiques of Warren as like crazy attacks. And honestly, it's kind of the same over here. Like this one on New York Times, it's like Warren's rivals attacked at debate. You know, it's just like whatever. But anyway.
Fourth Democratic debate cemented a new frontrunner amongst the crowded pack, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Currently the fastest rising candidate in the polls. Warren spent her night
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
The man all the candidates on stage would like to replace.
Go.
All 12 candidates.
Oh my God! I thought they had these.
I will do mine.
And former Vice President Joe Biden tried once again to move the discussion away from his son Hunter.
Oh my God! This is not telling.
It's the gold standard.
Here.
Denmark,
and became a new target.
Sometimes I think that
Jesus Christ!
is
Stop.
Country against the
Where's that Yang part? Okay, here we are. Fine.
Wealth tax.
The problem is that it's been tried in Germany, France, Denmark, Sweden, and all those countries ended up repealing it.
And for once again...
Oh, so
what?
The wealth tax, because these countries had wealth taxes or something. So his counter was like a value-added tax, and honestly, it's just like... It's like one of the few things I kind of disagree with Yang on, but it's like at the end of the day, I don't necessarily disagree, I don't think, because, I mean, there's a value-added tax in Europe and shit. They have those things. That's why I was bringing that up. So, because Warren wants a wealth tax, but so does Sanders. So it's just like...
But Bernie Sanders had more time to actually define what it is.
Yeah. He also, like... There's like a lot of back and forths between Yang and Bernie, honestly. That was really interesting. And honestly, it's just like both of them had good points, I think. It was just kind of interesting to be like, oh, shit, I have to be kind of on both sides on this one. Ooh, interesting. Udrius mule. But, oh, my God. I this is just reminding me how much I fucking want to shoot myself whenever I have to force myself to watch this shit. Ugh.
Refusing to say whether her health care plan would raise taxes on the middle class.
Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything. Except this.
Medicare for all is the gold standard. We can pay for this. I've laid out the basic principles. Costs are going to go up.
You know who else did? Bernie Sanders.
Can we just say that Booty Judge...
For 3 more decades than you did. You fucking bitch.
So, can I just say that he looked better when he had shit smeared right on his face right here?
He looks like a faggot.
Well, he's fucking gay, of course. Like, he's...
And Beta Cuck is also a faggot, and he's straight, at least as far as I know. You can be gay and not be a faggot. You can be gay and be a faggot. You can be straight and be a fucking faggot. And Pete Buttigieg is a fucking faggot. Look at the fucking like to dislike ratio, dude.
Oh, shit. I didn't notice that.
Oh, God.
I kind of want to make
like, this already.
I want to make.
The majority of the people hate this.
Yeah, I'm adding to it, but I wish I had 60 alt accounts so I can make that 666.
You, CBS.
Jesus.
Need a big flaming cock and all your asses.
Do you need a coffee or something? Do you need to calm down?
That would just make it worse. You fucking Sberg. That would make it worse. I'd be like.
Okay, don't
I mean,
don't elaborate.
As a chimpanzee, for fuck's sake.
We don't need to elaborate.
At the end of the day, the overwhelming majority of people will save money on their health care bills.
That is true.
But I do think it is appropriate to acknowledge that taxes will go up.
Oh no, what a shocker.
Oh no.
Anyway, so there's a Nelson Mandela clone, and there's a Republican that's somehow wandered her way onto stage.
Again?
So,
do you need face for that makeup?
Yeah, so it's just like, I mean, as you could tell, mainstream media, the establishment, has picked their candidate. They're literally trying to make it look like that these mild attacks are just like, you know, and she's just fending it off, which is honestly just bullshit. It's just like, nah, she's just vague. Like, the one rare thing that Biden is actually kind of true is like, yeah, she's kind of vague. She's continuously shown that she will walk down on fucking Medicare for all. She has, and she does. I mean, she's just wonky, wishy-washy, and half corporatist, half progressive, mostly
walks
corporatist.
The fucking tightrope between corporatists and progressive, and that's not what we want. And Trump is going to take advantage of that constantly.
Oh, yeah. Wheathens?
She will not win against Trump.
I'm going to force a Wheaton
I
down your
fucking
throat.
repeat, she won't win. Like, I feel like at this rate, the fucking DNC wants Trump to win. I feel like at this rate, they want it. Because, if anything, the mainstream media, they can't stop talking about Trump. And the fucking comedians who are fucking washed up otherwise, like Bill Maher and fucking Trevor Noah and
Dude,
Jimmy
Bill
Fallon.
Maher actually thinks Klobuchar is the candidate we need to look at seriously.
I wish the Joker were real, because if he was in the Bill Maher show, he would fucking shoot him in the face.
How about another joke, Maher?
How about another joke,
Bill Maher?
Boom!
What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner of society that treats you like trash?
Boom.
I'll tell you what you get, Maher.
A revolver to the face. Yes, we get it.
Shh. You ruined a fucking moment, you faggot.
We already knew what it was when you watched the film. I'm a dying animal. Just like Amy Klobuchar.
Silenced.
And the fucking debate.
All right. Anyway, let's continue with let's try to stomach more of this.
Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this and that taxes are going to go up. And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but you have
She's a secret
She's
Canadian.
fucking Canadian. She can't even run for president.
Everyone also agreed the president's troop withdrawal from Syria was a mistake.
We have an erratic,
It's just like
crazy president who knows not a
Ted
damn
Cruz.
thing.
Fuck this. Come on.
Dang thing. No, it's not a dang thing. Oh, I'm so edgy. Gosh darn it. I'm so friggin' edgy. Fuck off, Joe Biden. Like, shut the fuck up, boomer.
I'm gonna beat Trump like a drum.
I hope his dentures fall out of his fucking
Like, he
mouth.
literally, like, Joe Biden is somebody who literally is just consistently like, I will beat you like a drum every time he, like, mentions Trump and shit. That's, like, been his whole tagline lately. It's just like, what the fuck?
You like a drum. I'm gonna beat
He said
you
it in
like
his
a
debate a few
drum.
times.
About foreign policy.
Think about how.
And okay, let's see what Castrilla. Watch the commentary Deep Fat Fried's debate to understand what I'm talking about with Julian Count Castrilla. Anyway, because he looks like a fucking vampire, honestly.
Castrilla.
Anyway,
I like
basically they're using this little bit as like a warmongering dog whistle.
How absurd it is that this president is caging kids on the border and effectively letting ISIS prisoners run free.
But they disagreed over how long U.S. troops should remain.
You would continue to support having U.S. troops in Syria for an indefinite period of time.
You can put an end to endless war without embracing Donald
Will
Trump's
you end the
policy
regime
as you're
change
doing.
war? Is the
Oh my god. It's just fucking stupid shit. Oh my god, I just hate it. I don't even know.
Pete
Get out of here.
Buttigieg, the gay Obama. Yeah, I've just... we all know it's fucking bullshit. There's no point in even trying to debunk it. The audience already knows.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous, dude. Like
I don't even want to fucking look at these like New York Times
shit
things,
fucking
tabs anyway. It's all disgusting.
Like, there's just very rarely like things mentioned. Math. Yeah, for real.
We all know Asians are good at math. Moving on.
Oh my god. I mean, it's the fuck. Why do we have to deal with this bullshit? Like, CNN, you fucking suck. Yeah, you fundamentally just either blithely don't care, or just blithely or just ignorant on how to fucking, like, cohesive debate, you know, and, like, concise one. It's just like, oh, we're not gonna do one.
Not only that, but like
pretty much what's happening.
CNN blackmailed a fucking 15-year-old.
Oh,
so they already
what was
have,
that?
dude. So this kid, he made a meme, and it was it was like Donald Trump, on the fake WWE the wrestling SmackDown thing, and it had the CNN logo on it.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so they actually tracked down the kid who made it, and they had this like stupid segment of like, oh my god, this advocates violence. This advocates violence against CNN. Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Because it portrays violence from the bottom up.
Free speech triggers
I do this occasionally, but
it's
I
not
invoke,
even violence.
I invoke.
It's just a hyperbole.
Well, I mean, why I say this because like the video itself is just meant to be like, oh, it's saying that Trump's just gonna beat the shit out of CNN people or whatever.
Like metaphorically.
Well,
obviously.
yeah,
it's like it's saying that Trump is like debating against CNN and winning. That's honestly what the fucking point of that video or that meme was.
Yeah, I mean,
and then CNN took it fucking literally. Took it literally, and then
because
they
also
went out of their way.
the whole system doesn't like violence, or at least any like symbolism or metaphors or any idea of violence from the bottom being up. I mean, I don't. I mean,
descend.
Yeah, because I liked like to use this analogy that Derrick Jensen, a philosopher I've like looked into before. He makes this analogy on like, well, if you don't pay your rent, what happens? The sheriff's going to show up. Well, what if you resist? Well, violence is going to be brought down to you, bitch. You know, so it's just like simple as that. But you know, but if you try, you know, because the resist is basically violence being from the bottom up, and if you resist, well, it's going to be, you know, like that's not allowed. It's not acceptable. So it's just like, oh, oh, you know, and when, you know, so when CNN sees shit like that, or there's even like some random thing like of, like, let me try to look it up. It's on fucking Twitter. I know that much. Let me go.
Yeah, and then what do they do in response? The moral thing that they do, they take the fucking kid's personal information, they track down where the kid lives, and then they threaten to dox the poor kid unless he takes down the meme. Again, this is a private citizen and also a fucking minor. A fucking minor. Like, oh.
Just gonna have to go hella back. Hold on.
What kind of news station does that? And then, like, they want them in charge of the fucking debate? Bunch of fucking blackmailers?
It's just not even that. It's just that they're fucking a privatized for-profit entity making money off this fucking debates and shit when this shouldn't be happening.
We're also willing to break the fucking law and infringe on people's privacy. Children's privacy, might I add. Just to protect their already tarnished reputation. Oh my god.
Shut up.
Damn.
I'm just trying to go all the way fucking back, and it's taking a minute. It's gonna take a minute. Oh, I know that picture was fucking Kyle. God damn you, Kyle Kalinske.
I mean, was that the kitty?
No, that was not a kitty. It was a picture of a pig, but I'm not describing it. This is why I don't have it displayed, because there's haunting things that Twitter likes to show some days. That ain't.
Well, we all saw it. Well, that was kind of haunting, actually.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of haunting things on here, my friend. I'm just trying to go all the way. It's not gonna. It's probably not going to. Probably not gonna find.
I kind of agree with that one image. Sex work is work.
No, let me go.
We should stop banning it and stop giving criminals money.
Let me just look up Trump in video. It'll probably be in this somewhere. There's gonna be so many though. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is gross. Oh,
agreed.
This is bad, man. I don't want to go for this, but I have to.
I regret drinking right now. Ew.
Oh man. I'm just literally trying to fucking find this one little clip because
now this.
It's whatever. I don't know.
I have mixed feelings about now this.
Yeah, so do I. They're a little, I don't know, questionable. They're kind of questionable. I am just, I probably wasted my time at this point, but I am just trying to find it. Oh my god, it's just, why does it have to be this way? Why can't I just look?
Why did you have to do it during the video?
Because it got brought up mid-video. All right, whatever. I don't care this much. I don't care this much. Whatever. Fuck it. It was like some video of him like in some church. I think it was like a John Wick fucking clip or something. I don't know. I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure it was like some fucking John Wick film.
Oh my god.
And it was just him literally going for this church, and instead of like people's regular faces imposed, they were just like CNN, Black Lives Matter now, this
he
and
just
shit.
shoots them all down.
You know what? I know where I can find it. Twitter's TJ. TJ's Twitter. Wow, I switched the words around. Anyway, let me just look up. Oh, by the way, he has it as. Oh my god, he has a both.
That is fucking amazing.
Maybe a little too amazing. Anyway, I know he has it though somewhere. I swear to fuck he does, because I remember seeing it through his shit. If I remember correctly. Let's go through all the. No. Are we really? No. You know what? It'll be under his likes. It'll be under that shit. He doesn't use Twitter that often. He literally just skims through the shit like all the fucking time. It's stupid. It's kind of like, damn. Getting annoying though. Oh, yep. I like looking for his likes because they're a little funny.
I like the booty. Give me the booty. Bring me the booty. Back up the booty. Probably butchering the lyrics of that, but all I know is that in every bar it's booty. So I mean,
yep, something about booty. At the end of the day. All right. Well, is this it? Nope. Well, okay, it's not working out. I don't care anymore. Anyway. But, yeah, it's just like, they make up, like, these whole fucking narratives of just like, we're going to basically be like, hey, we can't, like, show this even though it's just literally a meme. Memes are violent. Hey.
Memes are violent. No, the Doge. Oh, no.
It's just, like, stupid. It's just like, I mean,
the Doge is gonna hurt us.
How can, like, something like that provoke somebody? It's like saying, it's literally the same argument as like, oh, this movie or this video game is gonna fucking.
If memes caused violence, there would have been 40 9/11s by now. Like
40 9/11s. Oh my god, that's a lot of Twin Towers. That's like 20. That's like 4. that's a lot of towers.
I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's fucking hilarious.
You gotta love dark humor. Cause
there would have been more 9/11s of memes. Like, could you imagine, like, the fucking Arabs they just looked at some memes and they're just like, oh no, rage comic, this is so funny. Let's go hijack another plane, Abdul.
I mean, I guess the Charlie Hebdo shit was technically that because they found it offensive. With the whole Charlie Hebdo thing, remember that?
Yeah, but also that was 1, not fucking legal. 2, like, that doesn't mean that it was Charlie Hebdo's fault.
I'm not saying.
I'm just. It's just that maybe French should have more competent border security.
Yeah, I mean that's
but
a whole.
Again, the French are fucking stupid anyway. Okay, no, I take that back. They're all right.
Like as long as I've known you've always had a bias against the French.
Well, they got a bias against us.
What? How?
They used to like us because they gave us the Statue of Liberty, and then they fucking hated us all over again.
This makes no sense. They don't. Since when does the French hate us? Like now? Like they currently do? Like this very fucking moment?
I don't know. I just wanted to say something hyperbolic.
Are you like Scotty on when he rages on about Canadians now? I mean, I rage about the whole world. That's why I do the whole dome thing. You know what I mean?
Build the dome.
Yeah, bro.
I just fucking hate humans in general. We're all a bunch of fucking niggers that came out of Africa.
Oh, my God.
Dude. Chimpanzees are our cousins, man.
So, yeah, evolutionary cousins.
They're the only species that's actually dumber than us.
There's a lot of species like that.
Sure.
I mean, well, god damn, you're fucking
They're
drunk,
living
dude.
a simplistic life.
You're fucking drunk, dude.
They're living the simplistic
You didn't
natural
even
life.
have, like...
And we're just polluting it. We're fucking it up for them. We're destroying ourselves, and most of us don't even know it. And some of us don't even care.
You know what?
We're fucking dumb as a species. We have to debate about basic human services.
We're going to just delve into some Derrick Jensen because, you know what?
Our
Fuck
fucking president, like, instigates wars over social fucking media. We're a dumb species. We're a dumb fucking species.
Hold up. Let me just, So I actually want to kind of see what you think about this shit. Hold up, let me pull it up.
Wait, who's Derrick Jensen?
Well, since I'm a guy who likes listening to him as a philosopher, here we go. And yes, he has a YouTube channel. By the way, here it is. I'm shouting. Derrick Jensen. I know you're not gonna see this, but I'm shouting you out. There's his channel. Y'all can, if you want to see more of this, you can go see him here. Actually, I'm putting that fucking bell on.
Deep
dude.
green video.
Yeah. Still, 4 days ago, he does that at least weekly from the looks of it. Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll probably click some of one of these or two of these. Check it out. But anyway, let's.
Whoa.
I want to talk tonight about Endgame, the book on the reality, and the way. That book really began from a fundamental question of: do you believe that this culture is going to undergo a voluntary transformation to a sane and sustainable way of living? And
this is kind of partly why I want to pull this up. This is kind of what I meant by we're going on tangents. Yeah, I know set goal to talk about shit.
And so the next question is, if you don't believe that the culture is going to undergo a voluntary transformation to a sane and sustainable way of living, and you care about the land where you live, what does that mean for your strategy and for your tactics? And the answer is we don't really know. And one of the reasons that we don't know is because we don't really talk about it. And one of the reasons that we don't talk about it is because we're all so busy pretending that we have hope.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do some serious hope bashing later. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, fuck. That's pretty morose.
That's really where I want to...
What do you mean?
And that's really what the book is about.
Like,
is
what, the hope thing or the hope bashing?
The hope bashing.
I mean, well, let's kind of delve into it. I mean, it doesn't really do that much hope bashing, but, I mean, at least in the kind of first chunk of it. But, I mean, it's, though, it comes from some actual merit, though, honestly. I mean, because it's, because I've listened to this specific little lecture, Endgame, on, before, and also Paul Zigo's done, like, his own, like, little back and forth about it, too. But, like, I mean, it's mainly just because of the whole system overall in its place, which is kind of why I'll point out different analogies he's used before, which you'll probably get into a few of them here.
That the culture's going to
because he goes through at least I think 20 premises in his book Endgame, but he goes through various different ones. And actually, we'll show it up here. But he goes through various, I think like 17 or something like that for this whole thing. But we're not gonna like watch the whole fucking thing, but just at least like some chunks of it.
A voluntary transformation. What do you do? And so, I think what I would like to do is go through.
And also, he's mentioning voluntary too. So it's basically the whole question is. How do you how do you make society voluntarily just like all say, hey, we just gotta go move in this direction and to go into a sustainable way of living, and we need to all just agree and voluntarily do this type of thing to help the long-term goal of just not only sustaining our species but just progressing even further as a species too. So I mean, it's just like obviously there's you don't really know answer because, I mean, honestly, I don't even think there is an answer because, you can't make an entire society voluntarily do that. I mean, which is kind of why he goes into the hope bashing thing as he was mentioning and stuff.
Of that book, and one of the things I've done in Endgame is I put my premises in boldface in the front of the book, and one of the reasons I did that is because one of the first rules of propaganda is if you can slide your premises by people, you've got them. About Hitler, it was said...
Which he does that a lot himself, but he actually acknowledges that tool as a thing to, actually get his overall broader premises by.
From insane premise to monstrous conclusion, Hitler was coldly isological. So he would say, what are we going to do about the Jewish problem? Gosh, Adolf, good question. What are we going to do about it? But see, what he's done is he's slid the premise by you that there's a Jewish problem you have to do something about. Or similarly, you hear some talking head on television say, so how can we make the U.S. economy grow? God, good question. Well, okay, some of the premises. A, we want the U.S. economy to grow. B, we want the U.S. economy to exist. C, who the hell's we? And so, like I said, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to slide premises by people. And so the structure of this talk is going to be that I want to go through some of the premises for that book. And the first premise is that industrial civilization is not, and civilization itself, but especially industrial civilization, is not and can never be sustainable.
Well, yeah, eventually it'll just collapse, and then it'll just start again.
So he actually goes into his definition of what a civilization is. So I'll let him get to that and then kind of go further with this premise.
Civilization is not and can never be sustainable. A few years ago, I was writing.
But this is an example of him also just literally like not a minute before described of him sliding a premise by, because now what is a civilization? You know, it's just like, all right, well, now we have to see what that is and see, is it sustainable, is it not? Which with his definition of civilization, I actually would agree with it, but let's get into
with
it.
A friend of mine who we were stuck in traffic, and I was just making conversation, and I said, so, George, if you could live at any level of technology that you wanted, what would it be? And George can sometimes kind of be a curmudgeon, and that day was not in a good mood, and he said, Derrick, that's a really stupid question. We can fantasize whatever we want, but the truth is there's only one level of technology that's sustainable, and that's the Stone Age. And we're going to be there again someday, and the only question really is what's going to be left of the world when we get there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that any way of living that's based on the use of non-renewable resources won't last. In fact, it takes anybody but a rocket scientist to figure that out. That before we go any further, it's like, okay, that's nice. What's civilization?
Here we go.
And, you know, I've been bashing civilization for about 15 years now, and so I figure I'd probably better finally define it. And the definition that I'm using is that civilization is a way of life that's characterized by the growth of cities.
So that's the
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I actually overall do kind of agree with that definition, because I mean, like let's kind of break it down a little bit. I mean, you know, like if you think of a civilization, what do you naturally think of? I think of, you know, a place or a society that has either one or multiple cities in various villages that they need to get a lot of export from, because these type of cities cannot sustain themselves naturally on their own. Like, I mean, you see it today, obviously, because you got, like, most of the Midwest of America as a industrialized agricultural fucking hub, and a lot of it doesn't even necessarily go to us directly. A lot of it gets outsourced too, or at least exported, and also vice versa too. Like sometimes a lot of our produce comes from other countries, and vice versa and shit as well. So I mean, a lot of, you know, civilization, especially now, is definitely, you know, I would say is not sustainable.
Well, not only that, but like, you know, archaeologists, they've measured how big cities were based on the amount of human remains they found, and also based on the amount of, like, you know, censuses or censi that were left over.
Yeah,
you know, or
like
documents that would
documentation
you
that
know,
were
that would
preserved,
suggest
and
how many people might have, you know,
an
been
approximate,
here.
yeah. Like, I mean, you know, and I mean, just as a caveat, I don't necessarily agree with like every single thing Derrick will probably talk about here. In fact, I know I won't, but I mean, overall, there's like, I mean, with a lot of his main premises, like this one, it's why I, you know, look up to him in a lot of ways, because it's like it's very agreeable positions I don't think get discussed enough. It's just like, yeah, it's nice that we're trying, like, that's why I advocate, you know, of tearing down a whole system, rebuilding a new one, you know, for me personally, at least, you know, not necessarily by violence, but I mean, that's just a consequence of the natural order of how that's going to work, you know, when you have chaos like that. And, I think that's just something that needs to be discussed. Like, it's nice that we're trying to reform this, but that's just only, you know, prolonging the inevitable at that point. So it's just like, where do we start, you know, like mentioning, all right, well, you know, what do we do going forward from this? Because this ain't going to be sustainable. So how do we, you know, transition, you know? And a lot of it is going to be, will have to be voluntary, and a lot of it won't. Like, I mean, at least from my position, I mean, there's going to be a lot of aspects about it that will have to be kind of authoritarian. Like, you know, we can't just, like, think companies or corporations and shit are just going to voluntarily, you know, transition and shit.
Side did not fuck people over.
Yeah, because, they have done. For them. Yeah, because, you know, they've just, you know, have never done that before.
And that's defensible both linguistically and historically.
Yep.
Well, that's nice, Derrick, but what's a city? And a city, I've defined as a collection of people living in numbers large enough to require the
I even mentioned that earlier.
And what that means is the Tolowa, on whose land I now live, were not civilized. They didn't require the importation of resources. They didn't live in cities. They lived in villages, camps, and once again, they didn't require the importation of resources. They would eat.
They were civil
salmon
but not civilized.
And clams,
Basically.
If that
and
makes
huckleberry,
sense.
And
It's because the definition of like the whole definition of being civilized is basically
They
being
didn't
in
kill one
civilization.
another, but they were a community, but they weren't a civilized community.
Essentially, like if they had a definition of civilized, it would be completely different than our definition of civilized. I mean, because
like the Roman definition.
Or, I mean, even thinking about it with the Aztecs, too, even and shit. Like, when they fell, when fucking Cortez came in and shit. Like, Hernando Cortez was, like, in Europe is seen as a civil guy. And then the Aztecs are just seen as just, like, as a community of savages and shit.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, they were actually their own civilization as well. And
they were considered the Rome of Latin America. They actually, like, by the time Hernando Cortez came in, it was like the population must have been about like 1 million people.
Yeah.
And also like their biggest export was corn. They were like the Nebraska with pyramids. Oh, also in rainforests around it too. They weren't like Nebraska.
And and even to
Bad
some
analogy.
extent, they were able to sustain themselves at least a lot better than us.
In fact, they wouldn't
other
want to be
civilizations.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
But you got to agree with me, though. Nebraska would probably be a lot more interesting if they were sacrificing people's hearts to the sun god.
Oh my
Make
god!
things a lot more
I
interesting.
actually might move to Nebraska to have like Killfest 2019, Nebraska.
What else are you gonna fucking do? I mean, some of the worst gangs, and I've actually had people from the Midwest tell me this. Some of the worst gangs are from the Midwest.
Oh, I bet.
There's nothing to fucking do there. Also, and I've also predicted, and people who have been to the Midwest have told me, and they were, and also kind of confirmed this. It's pure agoraphobia. Think of no mountains, no trees, just endless miles of fields and fucking flat land. I don't want to be there. That's fucking horrifying.
Lame.
And also, storms. Fucking storms in the sky. Like, maybe rolling hills in some parts. I don't want to be there. Fuck that. I like mountains. I like trees.
All right. Can I just talk to Nebraska like it's a person real quick? Nebraska?
Go die.
No. Nebraska. And you shut the fuck up. Anyway. You gotta fix your shit, bro. Nebraska, I don't know what's going on, but you gotta fix your shit, bro. You got issues. You got a lot of problems. I think you need some shit fixed. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're doing well as far as corn and wheat exports go. You're doing good there.
That's not saying much, but we'll give you it.
But incest, gang violence, your geography,
suicide, I bet even.
You just got to fix it, and maybe convince some of those tectonic plates to do something down there, Maybe make it more interesting. Maybe make a few mountains or something.
Fracking?
No, no fracking.
And
fuck off.
Salmon, and salmon.
Salmon.
And salmon, and salmon. And then usually through the winter they would eat a lot of salmon. And the Tolowa lived there for 12,500 years if you believe the myths of science. And if you believe the myths
renewable
of the Tolowa,
resource.
then they lived there since the beginning of time. And this culture has been there for 180 years, 170 years, and the area's getting pretty trashed. And so two things happen as soon as you require the importation of resources. One of them is that your way of living can never be sustainable, because if you require the importation of resources, it means that you've denuded the landscape of that particular resource, and as your city grows, you'll denude an ever larger area. And denuding the landscape of a resource harms the land base. It's very interesting. I know we've all been told that.
So pretty much this is kind of what he's saying. I mean, it's kind of a rundown of what we've been talking about a little bit. I mean, when you got a city, your and you have to export or import things, you're pretty much at that point by definition have diluted all those resources, or at least resources required to get what you need.
Exhausted the resources of that land itself. That
kind of worded it a little
renewable.
weirdly because it looked like he was thinking really hard at how to phrase it there, but I mean, yeah, overall.
But we get his point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is why dropping shit.
I think one big advancement for mankind is if we can actually manage to make a city that doesn't depend on limited resources, but only runs on renewable ones.
I mean, here's a part of why, here's like a little bit underlying all my pessimistic, nihilistic mentality and shit. Like, here's like a little optimistic side of me where it's like, I mean, we got technology now to the point where we're starting to get like lab-grown pork and stuff like this, you know? So it's just like, I think there is a potentiality to, at least to some extent, help alleviate the unsustainability of a lot of our way of living, basically, what Derrick is talking about. And, I mean, because, you know, like, I mean, even, like, let me not even talk about, like, food. Like, let me think of some other crop that, you know, I could
Just
assume.
energy.
Like, weed, you know? Like, I mean, you know, there's, like...
You can eat hemp food.
Well, yeah.
You make food from the hemp, too.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is, it's like, there's, like, you can't just, like, I mean, think about the states that legalized it. Like, there's a point where Oregon, Washington, Colorado... all these states that got legalized, there's a point where there was more demand than there was the supply of it. And it's just like, and it's pretty obvious. Yeah. It's pretty obvious. Like, even with something that isn't even a food produce, like, it's like, oh, we've exhausted our resources. I mean, at least with a lot of technology of today, like, some places just don't have those resources. Like, to make the TVs and the phones and shit, like, there's rare minerals that are just not in the U.S. that are in places like Afghanistan and all these other random countries. Hence why we're over there. But, you know, it's just, like, besides the point. But it's, that's, you know, it's pretty much a necessity to, like, we have to, you know, extract these resources, you know, somehow in order to sustain ourselves. Which is why I advocate the way I do. Because it's like, the way we are sustaining ourselves now fundamentally doesn't work. And also just how we're doing it in the first place is pretty fucked up anyway.
And I think we went over to Afghanistan for the opium. Isn't that correct?
And rare minerals and shit. They have both. Yes.
Like, because I know there are, like, certain mountain ranges. I forgot what they're called. Like the Kush Mountains or something like that.
I know there's, like, the Kabul region as well. I know the capital
city is Kabul. I know there are certain
Kabul.
mountain ranges around there. I think also Afghanistan's been called, like, the graveyard of civilizations.
No, the graveyard of empires.
The graveyard of empires. Yeah. Well, I guess like technically, because like Alexander the Great, he married a Bactrian princess, and then like they were able to create this like this civilization that was like a mix of like both Greek, like Hellenistic Greek, and like that native culture at the time,
Afghanistani type of
like Afghani culture.
Yeah, like
and
early
then it thrived for like a few hundred years.
Yeah, I mean
but then it then it fucking fell.
I mean, but it's so true because I mean there was a time where the Eastern Roman Empire was out there with the Byzantine Empire. There was I mean I guess in a broader sense Roman Empire, but there was the Soviet Union,
the graveyard of
the
empires.
I mean I guess if you want to be that broad, yeah. I mean the whole Earth is the graveyard of human progress. I mean, as much as we make it, it is the graveyard of it because,
or at least it's like the all the trash and all the mistakes we made are just like plastered onto the earth. And some of our few achievements.
And some of that shit is going to be there for
mistakes.
Billions of years. You know that whole garbage plastic dump gyre in the fucking Pacific? That is going to be there for billions of fucking years. And a lot of the plastic is, I mean, a lot of it's like microscopic too, even. I mean, there's this video I saw on Twitter of this fish that was stuck in some plastic, but it was like this thin layer of plastic that was practically damn near invincible. But some person who was scuba diving around the area just happened to notice that fish was not acting right, and it was trapped in a fucking thing of plastic. And it's just like, wow. Wow, like, talk about being sustainable, huh? Like, we can't even, like, sustain our own ecosystems. Like, that's how, like, fucked our way of living is that we can't even sustain the ecosystems, let alone, you know, our supply and demand of shit, you know, without damaging it, you know, in the way we do. I mean, I guess it's kind of why I'm, like, so, like, radical and unorthodox, you know, or kind of just, like, in the woods, or, you know, just, or some, you know, I don't know what, you know, like, at least in the group, we probably think of, like, my overall philosophy and shit, but it's just like, I mean, I just kind of see the writing on the wall when it comes to a lot of, like, what our current system, not just nationally, but globally, is doing. I just kind of see it as, like, it's just all going to collapse at some point, you know, and then when that happens, like, what the fuck is going to be left of the ruins?
Well, you know, it's like all the Bronze Age, you know, cultures, they collapsed too.
Yeah, I mean, civilization and humanity has gone through this. I mean, that's why I'm not...
Multiple times.
I mean, that's why on some level I'm okay with it and kind of embrace it, because it's like, I mean, because out of that shit, there has been moments, not every time, but there has been times in history where humanity has fucking flourished out of that shit.
Well, yeah, like, they've actually, like, triumphed after having a huge failure, like, colossal failure, and then they triumph all over again.
Yeah.
And then do better.
Yeah, and it's not every time, but it has happened.
And I'm hoping
before.
this will happen again. Like, you know, we learn from our mistakes.
That's
from
pretty
a
much,
massive fuck up.
And at the underlying my philosophy and shit, that's just pretty much all I really care about. But I think that's probably the most optimistic part of it, you know, which underlies a lot of my
So maybe we
ideas.
do need a Joker to just kind of fucking break everything down. Like, you know, and then, like,
on some level we all are, aren't we?
After that happens, he'll die, or we just kill him because he's being too crazy, and then, you know, we could just
I'm not
fix that shit. We know you want to be the Joker. We get it.
Shut up. I didn't say I wanted to.
There's a Joker in all of us. There's a little bit of a Batman in all of us, except for the crazy thing where we go out at night dressed as a bat, being grown men. Like, that's even crazier than Joker, dude. He's fucking insane.
Man, we just...
Batman.
Wow, we went on a fat tangent.
But it kind of goes along with this, yeah. Like, you know,
you
know, empires, they rise and they fall, and then they rise again. You know, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
You know? That's what Ragnarok is all about.
Going to skip just a wee bit, just a little bit. Just want to kind of get into just more. His second premise, I believe, was about to come up here.
It doesn't matter. So long as there's this fundamental system in place, it's not going to be sustainable. And the other thing it means is that your way of life must be based on violence, because if you require the importation of resources, trade will never be sufficiently reliable.
I'm going to let him explain this a little bit before I pause it again.
Because if you require the importation of resources and the people in the next watershed over aren't going to trade you for it, you're going to take it, which means we could all become junior bodhisattvas, and it wouldn't matter. The U.S. military would still have to be huge, because how else are they going to get access to our oil that just happens to be under somebody else's land? If they require that oil, they're going to take it. So those two things are really fundamental. Because I've been talking about resources, so I want to go back to what I was saying before about any way of life. Another way to look at all this is any way of life that's based on the use of non-renewable resources also won't last.
Yep.
I mean,
very much.
It doesn't matter what resource you're talking about. I mean, you would think that if you have a way of life that's based on the use of, I don't know, let's just choose a random example, oil. You would think that you would start to consider what's going to happen when this non-renewable resource runs out. That, once again, just by definition, any way of life that's based on the use of non-renewable resources won't last. And I would go a step further, and I would say that any way of life that's based on the hyper-exploitation of renewable resources won't last. So if every year there are fewer salmon returned than the year before, eventually you're going to run out. And everybody knows this except for Michael Sissenwine, who is in charge of one of the divisions of the National Marine Fisheries Services. And his response when learning that 90% of the large fish in the oceans are gone was to say, That's not a problem. We have to ask.
By the way, this was back in early 90s. No, late 90s, like 98, 99 or something like that. So, yeah, 90%. If he's saying a statistic of like 90% of large ocean fish are gone in like 98 or some shit, imagine what that is now. 20, 30 fucking years later.
Level of decline is reasonable or sustainable. Exactly. And so in basically 2 sentences or 3 sentences, he destroyed the words problem, decline. 2 sentences, he destroyed the words problem, decline, reasonable, and sustainable. So in any case, if every year there are fewer passenger pigeons returned than there were the year before, eventually there will be none. If every year there's fewer old-growth forest, which once wasn't called old-growth forest but was simply called home, then eventually it will be gone. And I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say that any way of life that's based on the use of resources won't last. Because a resource is something there to be used. And there's a great line by a Canadian lumberman, when I look at trees, I see dollar bills. And if when I look at trees, I see dollar bills, I'm going to treat them one way. I'm going to convert them into dollar bills. If when I look at trees, I see trees, I'm going to treat them another way. And if when I look at this particular tree, I see this particular tree, I'm going to treat it differently still. And it's the same with fish. If when I look at salmon, I see dollar bills, I'm going to treat them one way. If when I look at salmon, I see salmon, I'm going to treat them another way. If when I look at this particular fish, I see this particular fish, I'll treat it differently still. The same is true also of women. If when I look at women, I see orifices, I'm going to treat them one way. If when I look at women, I see women, I'm going to treat them another way. And if when I look at this particular woman, I see this particular woman,
spigots,
I'm going to treat her differently still.
I'm going to treat it one way.
If you perceive...
Yeah, so pretty much that's kind of what he's saying. I mean, it's kind of a little jumbly. It's just like, wait, what? I mean, it's kind of easy for someone who might get lost in this. But essentially kind of what he's saying a bit is like the outlook of kind of how we perceive a lot of these different resources, essentially, that we take from, you know, and he's kind of essentially overall kind of underlying premise, him sliding a premise by, is that, you know, it's unsustainable to look at it as just you know, something more aligned towards like a consumerist mentality versus something that's like, oh, you know, this is something useful for just my sustainability here, and I need to like be obligated to make sure that it's still here and also use it, and, you know, just kind of like be a part of it, you know, in a sense. I mean, it's a little convoluted too a bit, because like the overall premise is just like, I mean, the way of living it has to be based on violence, because we'll talk about earlier. Which is kind of why I wanted to explain a bit, you know, about, you know, like the other country, like we were talking about earlier, about like how the United States, you know, fucking goes to the other countries extracting rare minerals and fucking oil and shit for different resources that are, you know, are all...
Really, all that oil and those rare minerals, they belong in the fucking ground. Nobody should be mining that.
I mean, even if we are... it should be done completely fucking differently than how it is now. And I don't even necessarily know the answer to that either, because a lot of those resources are finite anyway. At least unless we are able to synthesize something else, you know. Like, I mean, there's not much, you know. Like that's hence like is why he started with the first premise of just like this the current way how civilization functions, and just kind of civilization in general is just unsustainable, because these type of things on a certain time scale, it just isn't. I mean, and for a lot of it, I think it's a lot more sooner rather than later, which is why, you know, I mean, for him, this guy's a rewilder and more of a primitivist, so he's saying we should probably just go back.
Sounds very much so, yeah.
Yeah, which is for me at least, one of my main disagreements with him, you know, because it's just like I don't seek to go back that way. I seek to go forward, you know, in these type of things and go into a more futuristic idea, you know, because I think there is a way that we can at least artificially find a way to sustain ourselves and not necessarily fuck up the rest of the world with it. So, I mean, you know, because we have these capabilities now. I think that, you know, we have enough ability, you know, and like, because, I mean, humans on a collective level, I mean, we're so advanced technologically, and so, we're, you know, like I was mentioning, like, you know, we're doing like lab-based food and shit at this point. Like, we're able to genetically modify things. Like, I mean, we are capable, like, as a species, we're capable of a fucking lot.
Of manipulating this Earth more than any other creature can.
Yeah.
At least as far as our knowledge. Like,
and
90% of the ocean is still left unexplored.
And we can...
So we don't know of any other...
And I, you know, at least for me, a part of my philosophy is I think we can potentially find at least... I don't know what it is specifically, but at least find a way to make civilization, a different form of it, but civilization nonetheless, sustainable, but it's due to us, you know, because we were able to advance this, because it's like, well, how we are doing it is not sustainable for what we got, so we need to figure out another way to make it sustainable without fucking everything else up. I mean, because, you know, on top of being, we're still on this fucking rock, we're still on this planet, like, you know, just because we're able to artificially sustain ourselves doesn't mean we can just throw away the rest of the environment with it. I mean, because if we can genetically engineer, you know, like, domes and shit, you know, just, like, all over the world and just, like, live in our little bubble environments.
Echo chamber.
Basically literal echo chambers. Like, I don't want that. Like, I mean, that's not sustainable. Because it's like, well, eventually there's going to be a problem with, you know, the outside force versus the little bubbles of your little interior and shit. I mean,
huge fucking tidal wave just goes over the fucking dome.
Not even that, but like toxic shit, you know, who knows? So
that
I mean,
they created.
Yeah, basically, you know, I mean, overall, you know, pretty much like a lot of my ideas are very futuristic ideas I'm talking about, but a lot of my philosophy, honestly, is based around a futurist mentality, because I think, you know, as a species, we are fucking capable of this shit. You know, we are capable of, like, hey, we can find a way to sustain ourselves and, you know, keep our ecosystem viable for what life is here as well, because just because, you know, we're capable of so much doesn't mean we have to, like, fuck everything else over, you know, all the other life over, you know. It's just like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's a really weird, like, primal superiority complex in a way. Like an evolution, it's like a weird, like, special superiority complex in a sense. I don't think it might be a fucking thing, but
you're such a species.
Well, hold up, I think it might be, because there's fucking birds out there. I forgot the name, but there's like this bird that will straight up like lay an egg with other birds, different species of birds, and once it's hatched, will literally like either kill or fucking throw out the eggs if they're not hatched, but if they are, kill the other birds and basically feed off the parents. And then the parents, different species of bird, will like fucking just kind of take care of it like it's its own kid. So in a weird way, there actually is on some level. I think, you know what, I take it back. I think on a certain level, I think there might be, honestly. Because I'm not going to lie, when I look at fucking mosquitoes, I see them as an inferior, unneeded thing that needs to just be extinct. So, I mean, honestly, if that's not a special superiority complex, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? Not only are they just a fucking pest, but, I mean, even on a legit level, they're just, on a scientific level, they're not fucking needed. I mean, I've heard arguments like...
they're actually not needed in our ecosystem?
Yeah, like if we've wiped out mosquitoes, like on a short term, it might make a slight impact, but on the long term, it won't do a fucking thing.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, seriously, dude. Like, I mean, and because humans are capable of these type of things, we could genetically engineer mosquitoes so, like, the females or the males, whichever, are sterile.
Just can't
Yeah,
breed.
And eventually over time, they'll not be able to breed. And there'll be none of...
They'll die out.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly,
good
fucking riddance, I say. You know what? Like, people.
Goodbye malaria.
I mean,
the
thing is, people will do rebuttals like, "Oh, but fish populations and stuff." It's like, what? You don't think fish fucking eat other things? What? You think there's fish populations that literally eat just mosquitoes and nothing else? Like, get the fuck out of here. You know, it's just like...
I highly doubt
yeah,
that.
like, I mean, when they say short term,
imagine like some African kid, catch a fish and then it's like, you know, it ate a mosquito, they get malaria.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, when I mentioned how, like, earlier, how fish populations might get mildly affected, or maybe other life populations, is because it is a part of their diet and their usual sources of food, but it's not their only one.
Just watch an SJW scientist just, like, you know, splice human DNA with mosquitoes, and then we all have, like, a different new race of marginalized mosquito people.
Today's otherkin will be tomorrow's transhumanist werewolves, dude.
Transhumanists,
Honestly,
mosquito
dude,
people.
hold up. Hold up. Before we go back into this Derrick Jensen
That is
thing,
discriminatory towards mosquito people. Let him suck your blood. It is the only way he can sustain.
Shut up. I'm gonna do just a quick little pivot before we go back into Derrick Jensen. But like TJ made this video about talking about question about transhumanism stuff. He answers we shouldn't as much as I make fun of other kind of stuff, and I have, and I'm an asshole to it. Sure, I'll admit that. There's a part of me though that's maybe on a weird way they could potentially be like the future of fucking transhumanism and stuff like that. In a weird way, I kind of agree. Imagine a world where you got people who have part wolf DNA and are literally the literal embodiment of a fucking you literally have literal literal furries walking around, not people in
suits.
Yeah, they will be the pseudo furries
You
now.
got Robin Hood.
Dude, there will literally be a division
Star
amongst
Fox.
furries and shit. I've been thinking it's a funny hypothetical where furries will
the
divide.
fucking Thundercats walking around literal Thundercats.
Seriously though, if transhumanism
Sounds
around the
scary
corner,
as
that
fuck, dude.
Not really, dude. If there's spliced DNA woman who had wolf DNA and human DNA, but was able
Got Lon Chaney Jr.'s walking around us.
I don't know. I'm down for that I'm down for that world.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, because think about it. Our dystopia today.
Get Khajiits.
Dude, think about it. Our dystopia sucks. I was thinking we would have this shit, that I'm talking about. I want that. Let me keep the dystopia as long as I can have this shit. You know what I'm saying? At least let me have my transhumanist wolf human hybrids. You know what I'm saying?
If it was still a dystopia, I think what would happen is only the wealthier people would be able to do that.
I just want the Fifth Element shit and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Come on.
So we have fucking Khajiits and dog people walking around.
I mean. Anyway, I just wanted to have a little aside, but let's go back into our Derrick boy. I like how this is what I meant by we were kind of gonna do tangents. I didn't really there wasn't really much on the news, so I was just I still have stuff that I can.
It's a slow news day.
I do have other things we could look at.
But at least
one other.
Admit it.
I have one other thing to look at, but I'm thinking we'll just kind of wrap it up with that maybe. But anyway.
Even though there is a resource, you're going to use them as opposed to enter into a relationship with them. And I need to be really clear that just because I perceive a fish as a fish, that doesn't mean that I can't eat it. And I was doing a radio interview in Spokane, Washington several years ago, and the interviewer said, Indians exploited salmon too. And I said, no, they didn't. They ate them. And he said, what's the difference? I said, well, they gave them respect for the spirit in exchange for the flesh. And I knew that answer was kind of bullshit, but I'm a male, and so I'm required by law to answer every question that's asked of me.
Because it... okay. Well, hold on. Because I just kind of want to clarify this whole thing. When you're saying the spirit flesh shit, pretty much it's a bullshit of answer of saying I'm obligated to, protect the ecosystem that I'm living in, because if I don't and it gets fucked up, then I'm not going to be able to live in it, and then I get fucked up, basically. Because let's say you live in a river and you just literally throw your carcasses of your hunted game and shit in that river, it's gonna get heavily infected with fucking diseases. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and also
it's a quick little quip example on of that this type of thing that he's talking about. Because there's a non-spiritualistic way of describing it, which I am now, because that is a bullshit answer, honestly. Because like I said, as much as I
was just about to define it, though.
I know. I'm just saying, when it comes to those type of things, because he's definitely
acknowledged that it sounded like a bullshit answer.
Yeah, this is why I respect him and look up to him in a lot of ways, because he understands and is intelligent and has enough intellectual honesty to, be like, all right, here I'm doing this, just letting you know, and here I'm doing it now, So he has actual some intellectual honesty when he's discusses what he means, and he means what he fucking means.
And so that afternoon I went out and I sat next to this tree that I had a long relationship with, and I asked the tree, what is the fundamental predator-prey relationship?
The tree.
And the tree gave me the answer right away, which is, if you consume the flesh of another, you now take responsibility for the continuation of the other's community. So if I consume the flesh of salmon from the Klamath River, I now take responsibility for the continuation of the Klamath River salmon. And that's, everybody knows this. You know, bears know it, mergansers know it, newts know it. The mergansers know that if you consume all the newts in this pond, there won't be any newts in the pond anymore.
I mean, here's actually where something I disagree with him on.
Well, I agree with that notion though.
Nah, here's
like,
where.
Well, I mean, if you
I'll let you explain.
If you like just hunt excessively, there isn't going to be that game, and then you're fucked because there's no game anymore.
Well, I mean, that's not what
that makes sense.
That's not what I disagree with him on. I disagree with him on the notion that other animals like bears and deer and shit know, like, oh, if I eat.
Of course they would.
Not necessarily. They just exist, really, and just like participate in the environmental equilibrium that they're in. Like if a deer population explodes, like, you know, then the bear population might because, you know, oh, well, there's a bunch of fucking deer. I mean, but then all those deer are going to eat up all the fucking grass, and eventually all that deer...
I guess you're kind of right, because there was actually this experiment that they ran, and it was the deer, like, you know, in one island.
Yeah.
And, like, there was no predator. They were observing how the deer were going to, you know, react, and they basically ate all the fucking vegetation.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, I can kind of agree with that.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, this is also where I think a lot of people might be turned off by him, because he's talking to trees. He's a crazy little, you know.
Really, like, but also he makes sense though. And
well, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I think the overall message though, and I know this sounds like, you know, kind of biblical and kind of, but like, you know, we should be shepherds to the earth, and we're not fulfilling that role. And
I mean, on an overall level, yeah. I mean, I don't.
We need to be the earth shepherd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. I guess agree with the rhetoric, but I mean that doesn't really mean I disagree with the overall
point. We need
point,
to
you know
watch
what I mean?
for the balance of the ecosystem.
Like, because we're an animal just like any other
collapses.
fucking animal. I mean,
but we're conscious.
Yeah.
Of how our
what
ecosystem...
differentiates us is that we're conscious and intelligent and sentient enough to, you know, have shit like technology and you know, over time develop these things, and you know, and have conscious thought and have deep, you know, thinking of, like, you know, of our thought of, like, decision and shit like this. I mean, you know, like, I mean, there's a lot of things that definitely differentiate us, you know, but I mean, I think that's, I mean, because it's pretty much like another main critique of Derrick I have is that he anthropomorphizes nature a little, you know, it's a little too much to my liking. I mean, because, I mean, he kind of puts the human mindset into other animals.
Projects.
Yeah, he can. Know, yeah, and
the minds of men into beasts.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what you did about the bears, knowing like, oh, if I eat too many this or that or whatever, then you know I'm not going to be able to sustain. Like they don't, you know, they like on some primal level.
At the same time,
like on some primal level, they might know that if I can't find any of this, I got to move on somewhere else. Like on some primal level.
Yeah, but also like,
you know,
think of it this way too. Without the humans intervening, and because like this is, you know, the reason why we fucked up as bad as we did as a collective is because we weren't conscious of it, and now that we're starting to become conscious of it,
yeah,
we might just be able to, you know, to actually fix something. Shit.
I mean, this is why,
even though we still change the environment. So, like, what I'm basically trying to say is,
I'm gonna open mine too.
Like, so, I mean, because like the bears and, you know, other ecosystems were doing just fine without us, without our intervention.
Yeah,
they did just fine. So I think to a degree they would have known, because it was already in balance.
I mean,
to what we did.
To a certain to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, because it's, I mean, because I think on a certain because on a primal,
right? To some
degree.
degree.
I mean, because I mean, if you look on a very primal, you know, level when it comes to like basic primal instinct and shit, yeah, like it's just like, oh, like if I'm a bear and I can't find fucking deer to eat, I mean, not even just deer, because bears are, besides like I think very few species, they're primarily like herbivores. So if I'm like a black bear and I can't find berries, deer, or any other food to fucking eat, I'm gonna like
omnivores.
Yeah, omnivores. Yeah, sorry, my bad. But yeah, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I can't find fucking food here. Well, I gotta start just wandering around, hope I find something, you know. So it's
you know
what
like, else are omnivores? Men.
Yeah,
fucking vegan faggots. They need to
oh
learn
my God.
that.
You know what was so weird? Cory Booker put out like a weird vegan quip out there. You know, when it came to Donald Trump himself, he
Fuck
like
him.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, fuck him. But it was just like, I found that so weird. It's like, why? Like, what? Like, I just love all these fucking candidates, you know, fucking doing, like, random little, like, oh, I'm going to do virtue signals to this group and that group and blah, blah. It's just so ridiculous. But
to these fringe weirdo groups.
And honestly, like, I don't even really have a problem with, like, an individual
impact.
vegan and shit. It's just that like, just don't fucking force it down anyone's throats and just, like...
Just keep it to your fucking self.
Yeah, and honestly, if you want to have a discussion with me on it, I'm down with that. Like, I don't mind that, really. Look,
Like, if you're gay, go be gay with your gay lover behind closed doors. Same thing with veganism. Go be fucking vegan behind closed doors, and I won't give a shit.
I mean, it's either, like, I mean, if you, like, you know, I mean, if you want to, like, get, like, some vegan burger or whatever the fuck, you know.
I don't want to eat that, because you know what all that, like, fake vegan meat is? It's just a bunch of fucking gluten.
Well, it's not, well, not necessarily. Like, you know, like, the Beyond Burger from Carl's Jr. shit? I haven't had it, but it's...
gluten.
Well, I looked it up. It's not... Well, there is some of that, but it's not the primary ingredient. That's like the 8th thing on the fucking list. There's,
I mean, the people who
there's
are
a lot
allergic
of
to gluten,
there's actually
they can't eat that.
there's actually like different extracts and different things from like beans and different other veggies. Actually, there's like different things in there. Like, it's not just gluten in there, but I mean, like I mean, shit. Like, honestly, like, if they had like something that's vegan and it is like goddamn identical to some meat, like, I'd fucking have it. Like, I mean, I just, like, they have to, like, my problem with vegans is that if there's like some criticism merited, you know, against, you know, like an idea that, you know, the general vegan, movement pushes, fucking just own it. You know, like this whole, like, oh, if we replace all animal agriculture with fucking produce, that will fix things. Not really. That would make
Nope, that's just going to cause the ecosystem to collapse even further.
Yeah, I mean,
because, like, the number one reason why, like, animals go extinct is not just because of, you know, we're hunting too many of them. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
But the main cause is habitat loss.
Deforestation. I mean, that's just not one way of doing it, but yeah.
That's the number one cause, though.
It is the number one cause, but yes.
It's habitat loss.
Yeah.
And so the fucking vegans, if those faggots had their way, they would actually accelerate, you know, the rate of the human extinction and also the extinction of the rest of the life. And then Greta Thunberg would be turning to them, getting her angry mob of Swedish teenagers listening to black metal and burning churches left and right and going,
God.
how dare you? And she'd be right.
I mean, she wouldn't be doing black metal shit. Honestly.
I wish. I wish she'd be burning
Dude, that'd be kind of
churches.
funny if I saw her.
I'd be so proud of her.
Dude,
She needs to burn some fucking churches.
Dude, honestly, if I saw her in fucking black metal garb, that'd be hilarious. I'd love that, honestly. I kind of agree with you. But anyway, Derrick Jensen.
And we just forget sometimes. And that's the fundamental predator-prey bargain that we have to get into. And I want to say something else about that, and then we'll come back to the other. But I got into a big argument with this guy several years ago because he was saying that because I use toilet paper that I am just as culpable for deforestation as the CEO of Weyerhaeuser. And I knew that was wrong, but I couldn't really articulate why. And he said, go ask a tree. A tree will tell you. So I went out and asked a tree, and the tree said, you're an animal. You consume things. Get over it. And
well, so does a tree.
It also gave me the other answer, which is
it's not necessarily an animal, but yeah.
Not because I consume the flesh of a tree. I'm culpable because I consume the flesh of a tree without fulfilling my end of the bargain. I'm culpable not because I use toilet paper, but because I don't stop Weyerhaeuser from deforesting. And that's a much more serious culpability than simply consuming. So I'm not culpable because I consume Klamath River salmon. I'm culpable because I consume Klamath River salmon and I don't take out the fucking Iron Gate.
So, do you actually know what he's saying there? That last point, the very last second. When he says, you know, when I'm culpable because I eat the Klamath River salmon and I don't take out the fucking Iron Gate. What do you think he's referencing there?
I feel like I should know this.
It's actually a little bit of Oregon history.
Is that the Celilo Falls?
Yeah.
Reference?
Because this is not the one time he'll do it, and this is actually one thing I fundamentally disagree with him on, is that he kind of has these eco-terroristic talking points like this. And it's one thing because he's taking it, when he means by taking out the fucking Iron Gate, like when he says that, is he's talking about blowing up the fucking dam. I mean, so this is one of like the main fundamental disagreements I kind of have with him. It's just kind of
Why not just have people like tear it down brick by brick? We don't need to blow anything up because that would just make things worse.
I mean, I've actually kind of had a discussion with Stefan on this on stream about this a little bit because
just get we just get all the people.
I mean, the thing is with these with the dams, not just the Klamath River, but in the
prisoners,
Columbia,
make them slaves, and just tear it down brick by brick.
Oh my God, it's like no, like you give them a wage. God damn it, they're still fucking people.
Well,
anyway,
they're prisoners.
So what?
So they get
they're
to work,
fucking people,
and
so
then
what?
they go free. They work and then go free. That's their reward. Until it's
they
dismantled.
fucking get paid. They could be in prison cells and have money.
They get paid in freedom.
Oh my God, that's not how things work. But okay, anyway, besides the point. But like,
I'm kidding.
Jesus fuck!
I just wanted to sound brutal.
God damn it,
It's
man!
funny.
It's just like, geez, you might as well join the stage with him at that point. Anyway, but like,
Ignarist Take.
Oh my God, but anyway, so like. I mean, this is kind of one thing I fundamentally disagree with him because it overall kind of undermines the whole point you're making because you're just like, advocating violence. I mean, and this is one of the whole things about bringing violence from like the top down, bottom up, and we're actually kind of getting close to the analogy about this type of thing. Because, I mean, this is kind of where a lot of my pessimism probably comes out, where it's just like, I mean, yeah, you can go and put fucking dynamite on the dam or try to, like literally intervene in warehouse or fucking deforesting and shit like that. But, like, at the end of the day, is that really going to truly solve anything? Like, and in my perspective, it don't. It, if anything, really just kind of makes the overall movement that you're trying to push way worse. I mean, and I'm not saying that I think, like, at least Derrick here is, like, totally, like, undermining everything he's saying with just this one thing he just said here alone. But, like,
It's kind of like Greenpeace ruining the Nazca lines.
Yeah. Or if, like, ACLU came out and it's like, we're not going to defend the right for you to come out. It's just like, yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, I don't see the ACLU actually doing that.
Well, yeah.
They're pretty consistent.
Yeah, but if they like came out and did some shit that like totally undermined everything, it's just like, why did you do that? And you just totally undermined everything, no matter how you try to.
Well, I guess I better tie the noose then.
But
I'm kidding. I still wouldn't do that.
But
I'd rather enjoy the shit show that we're about to take part in than
be me, be an observer, be a George Carlin,
or be part of it. Join the fun.
Well, I don't know. Well, you kind of by proxy are. I mean, I'm observing, but I'm in the middle of it.
Well, why not just get directly involved? People are going crazy. Go crazy with them.
I don't want to
join the party, man.
I don't give a fuck what they want to do.
Someone puts a shotgun in your hand and says, "Hey, you want to join our vigilante group?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" What are we gonna shoot?
Yeah,
we're gonna shoot pigs, man. Oh fuck yeah! I'd love to shoot pigs.
Someone put a fucking gun to my head. You know what? I'm gonna do whatever I can to survive.
And then we're gonna rape their wives, and then sell their children into slavery.
Oh my God! I swear to fucking God.
And then we're gonna fight the zombies, and then we're gonna also exploit some of them for entertainment and game shows.
Okay.
Who's the last person to get infected with the zombie virus?
Anyway, but shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Traditional communities do not often voluntarily give up or sell the resources on which their communities are based until their communities have been destroyed.
Oh, so here's his second premise. Traditional communities do not give up the resources on which communities are based until their communities are destroyed.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah. I mean, we can literally go on a fucking 10-minute rant about why, but I think I mean, God damn it, we've only made 13 minutes into this shit. We've been going off and haven't let Derrick talk too much.
They also do not willingly allow their land bases to be damaged so that other resources, gold, oil, and so on, can be extracted. It follows that those who want the resources will do what they can to destroy traditional communities, as we see. Third premise. Our way of living...
I mean, he pretty much kind of flew over it, but honestly, there's not much that needs to be explained for it. I mean, it's pretty self-explainable. I mean, that's why it's like, I might as well just kind of let him go on. But here's his third premise. Our way of living, industrial civilization, is based on, requires, and would collapse without persistent and widespread violence. Which I'll kind of let him explain a bit.
Civilization is based on, requires, and will collapse very quickly without persistent and widespread violence.
Well, because if they're already running it out of it, in the native area, they need to get it somewhere elsewhere. So I mean, it makes sense.
Think about South Africa, dude.
Well, also think about it historically wise. I mean, when Rome, when they were trying to expand their empire, they were running out of gold.
Yeah.
And so they went to Gaul, which those Celtic tribes, they had a lot of gold, and they wore it literally on their sleeves, and on their necks and everything. So they wanted to conquer Gaul because they had gold, and they had other resources like silver, that Rome needed, or that Rome really wanted. Because, gold doesn't necessarily have, a practical use, but it's used for, practical financial reasons, such as, title.
Arbitrary meaning of what value
is. Yeah, they give a sense of arbitrary value based on its rarity.
I'm going to get some more wheat thins real quick.
So, yeah, and also, you could see this also with many of the Spanish settlers, like Hernando Cortez, and to the Aztecs, and then Francisco Pizarro in, against the Incans. It's the same shit. So, I mean, he's got a point. A society that has some of the resources, or a society that derives a certain resource on that, on how that society runs, is not going to relinquish that until they're fucking destroyed. So, the United States, they keep going on these endless wars, to get oil from these other countries that have it, because they know that we're running out of it here. Why else would they do it? They want to control the oil. You control the resources. You control those areas. The more resources you have, the more power you have. It's just how it is. So, essentially, yeah, the United States is going to keep doing that until it collapses in on itself. I think the main way that I see the United States actually falling, because it will fall, even if the United States lasts as a fucking empire, for about a millennium, it's still going to fucking fall. Eventually, it will fall.
Probably sooner more than later.
Oh, actually, personally, I hope.
Personally, yeah. On some level, I kind of do.
I don't know. Maybe not my lifetime, maybe so. I'm just, as long as my family and friends are all right, That's all I give a shit about.
Eugene, and afterwards, this guy raised his hand, and he said, you talk about how violent this culture is, and I just don't see it. There's no violence in my life. I'm not violent myself. I don't see any violence.
Have you ever checked the Middle East?
It's significant to the story, by the way, that it was a man who said it, not a woman. And I said, okay, where's your shirt made? And he looked, and it was made in Bangladesh. And I said, do we even need to talk about that? Said,
yeah,
no.
sweatshops.
I said, okay.
He's right.
And also, I'm just wondering, do you pay rent? He's like,
there's an analogy I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? I said, why? He said, because I don't own? I said, no, what would happen if you didn't pay rent? He said, well, I get evicted. I said, what does that mean? I don't understand. What happens when you get evicted? And he said, well, a sheriff would come to my house, and he would... I said, stop right there. What happens if the sheriff comes to your house, and you say, hey, I was just getting done cooking dinner. Come on in. Have some food. So the sheriff comes in, sits down, and you cook him dinner, and you feed him, and you don't poison him.
Yep.
Hold on.
Then after dinner, you say to him, it's been nice having you here, but your company's not all that pleasant, so I would like for you to leave my home now. What would happen? He said, well, the sheriff would take out his gun and he'd say, I'm here to evict you. You got to leave because you didn't pay your rent. I said, so the reason you pay rent is because if you don't, some guy is going to come to your house with a gun and he's going to kick you out of your home. He's like, I guess. And I said, okay, let's try it again.
Violence, yeah.
What happens if you're really hungry, and so you go to the grocery store, lots of food there, you know, and you just start eating? What's going to happen? So we're going to call the sheriff, and he's going to come. He's the same guy. He's a real asshole, isn't he? The sheriff's going to come and take you away. So what this means is that in order for you to survive, in order for you to have a place to sleep, a place to be, you have to pay somebody. And in order to eat, you have to pay somebody. That's really weird. And if you don't, somebody with a gun is going to come and do something bad to you. So part of the reason that a lot of us don't see the violence.
Kind of a shitty way of building up a system,
It's because we want to avoid the violence. That's why we don't see it, because we comply.
So we don't
Because
have
we don't want to see the violence.
Even though sometimes it's just there. Like, it might not even be directly even in your own country, too, even, like initially how he started, it was like, hey, your shirt's made in Bangladesh. He's like, oh, well, I guess we don't really need to go into that, right? But then it kind of goes further.
Where do you think the gas comes from in the gas station?
Yeah. And where do you think, like, some of the fucking products that Coca-Cola makes and, a lot of companies like Hershey and shit, like, where do you think they get their chocolate,
Nestle. Nestle's even worse.
Oh, yeah, they're even worse about it.
Nestle is 10 times worse, bro. Oh, my God. Like, they just force these kids to work out.
They don't
these,
even know where their
harvest
coca
these
comes
coca
from either.
plants.
And they don't even know where half of it comes from.
Yeah. They just force these kids to go out and harvest them without any pay. They're just like, oh, you better do this or I'm going to kick your little ass. It's basically what they're doing.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
They just bully these poor kids into doing it.
Not necessarily
What
bully,
the
but
fuck,
literally,
dude?
but probably in some extent put a fucking gun to their head.
Ugh.
Oh, kind of like how Derrick Jensen described.
Is because
that's why I love using that as an analogy, because it fucking works and it's fucking correct. It's just like, that is like, a lot of how our system is built is violence is okay top down, but as soon as it's bottom up, no. And again, it's not even necessarily that I advocate that. It's just that it's just an acknowledgement of like, as soon as something even with these like mass shootings and shit, like to some extent, it's kind of like violence from the bottom up. Not necessarily. It's kind
not necessarily. Like again, like the reason why I'm gonna interrupt that is mainly because it's not even like fighting the people who are above. It's actually hurting the people who are in the same level of the hierarchy.
But the mere fact that the violence is happening is just a no-no. The fact that it's happening from the bottom is a no-no. If it was like someone from the top, it'd probably be a different story.
Oh, they get off
And generally,
scot-free.
it always is. Like fucking Blackwater, a private military company, doing war crimes and is fucking ran by a Christian fundamentalist, theocratic, crazy fucknut.
Fucking scum.
And, there's countless fucking examples. I don't need to go down the goddamn list. But, there's just so many examples, a plethora of them, not just from our country, but all around the world, of, where violence is used to maintain a status quo from the top down. But whenever there's some from the bottom up that disrupts it, even if it just stays at the bottom, it's just a big fucking no-no. Which usually when it comes to mass shootings and shit and a lot of these, violent acts and stuff, they tend to be from the bottom and stay there. But very rarely do they ever try to hit the bottom up. And even if they do, it honestly, at the end of the day, makes it fundamentally more worse because they're trying to make an example of if you do this again, it'll be even worse. It's like, we're going to do some harsh crackdowns because of this now because this was wrong. No. Let's not understand why maybe this person did it. Let's just know that the person did it and it was bad. Bah. It's just like... that's kind of why the whole Joker movie resonates so much, because he kind of the whole movie was basically delving into how and why in a very deep way on a character who did violence from the bottom up on, to an extent, killing the, 3 Wall Street dudes and then Murray Franklin on his show. A lot of that was violence from the bottom up, and, everything around him with those protests and shit was the bottom up, rising up and shit. I mean, and then everything around him was just like the status quo of like, no, this is bad, no, this is wrong, how dare you, like, from, Murray's little thing, with the back and forth between them, and then with Thomas Wayne and shit, and all that, running for mayor and stuff. So, I mean, it's just like a lot, there's a lot of, like, there's just like a lot of excuses to make of like, oh, this violence used, for the, from the bottom is just like wrong. Let's make an excuse why. It's like, oh, it's the guns, or oh, it's just that he's crazy, or oh, he's just mentally ill and just it's not actually focused on the whole issue. It's just like, like whenever it's just like literally on any broad sense, whenever it happens, it's just like, let's not actually try to focus on maybe why this person did the things they did. It's just like, oh, he just did it, and that's bad. It's pretty much like how the overall broad. I mean, when you look at mainstream media, whenever these fucking shootings happen, they just talk about like thoughts and prayers, and oh my god, look how many people died, and oh my god, look at the
platitudes, cliches.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so
It's
sad.
not actually trying to delve deep into the psyche of the person who did it, and actually trying to delve into why overall this fucking happened. I mean, especially for the United States, it's such a fucking special thing, to look at, because, we're exceptional when it comes to mass shootings. I mean, and it's, overall something that definitely needs to be looked at. It's not necessarily the fucking guns. It's, the lack thereof of being aware of our mental health crisis in this fucking country, because it is, I mean, it's bad. Like, fucking mental health is bad in this country. I mean, it's actually it's fucking crazy about, like, how we just undermine, the awareness of mental health in this country and just blow it off as just like some nothing, as like, oh, it's just like this person's just this way because, oh, he just is, spiteful and whatever. You're just jealous, or oh, you just feel this way because, you just don't know, how good you have, or this or that, or whatever fucking excuse it may be. I mean, I've heard a few of them too myself, and it's just like, it's like, oh, you have a job, why aren't you happy? That's another one too. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me? It's just like, really? It's like, I mean,
you don't really know much about that person. What if that kind of job that they're working isn't really the kind of career that they want to actually have,
or doesn't just inspire them? What if they're working some dead end job where it's basically like a McDonald's, where it's like, can I get a double cheeseburger? It's just like, what inspires you to do things in life when you have to deal with
for McDonald's, and like, all the jobs that I've worked at, it's 10 times better than working there. I'll never apply to McDonald's. Like, fuck that. I've never had to. Like, I don't want to do that. That's just, I don't know. I always found, working at McDonald's degrading. I always thought it was less degrading being a fucking stripper. Because at least people kind of admire, they give you some sense of admiration, albeit perverted. They at least give you a sense of admiration when they look at you. They're like, oh, damn, that's nice.
Like what you're saying.
But like when you're working at McDonald's, you're like, I'll see this, and it's like, also I see like the sullen expressions on a lot of the, on the kids' faces when they work there. They don't like being there. Because every now and then, because I don't really have Wi-Fi in my house, so I just leech the Wi-Fi from the, from the McDonald's. But I'll feel bad a little bit, and then I'll buy something like maybe like a cookie or like or like a snack there just to.
You get a cookie, what a fag. Get a cookie. Why are you getting that super sci-fi? Super sci-fi.
Super sci-fi. Huh?
Why aren't you doing 5 super sci-fi?
Super sci-fi. Super sci-fi.
Oh my god.
It's so fucking good. Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of our society is still based on coercion.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. Especially American
this
society.
culture, civilization, I think might be my favorite premise of the book, is based on a clearly defined...
Oh, we were literally
and
just
widely
talking about this fourth premise. The civilization is based on a clearly defined and widely accepted unarticulated hierarchy. Violence is only acceptable from the top down. We were literally just describing this, but just kind of from the other way. Like we're describing how any violence from the bottom is never accepted, but pretty much that basically means the overall premise here just means it just makes it more correct.
That naturally.
Yeah, it just naturally, so perfect. I didn't even mean, Profantanica, Sacramental. What the fuck? Sacramental cum, taken of cross. All right, Season of Mist. Okay.
What? Yo, you're gonna have the rest of the Kit Kat.
Yet often unarticulated hierarchy.
You can have some of my Wheatons.
I loved how you just like grabbed that instantly. That was awesome.
It's nearly always transparent,
like,
invisible, it's unnoticed. When it is noticed, it's fully rationalized.
I want my skoma.
Violence done by those lower on the hierarchy to those higher is met with is unthinkable. And when it does happen, it's met with shock, horror, and the fetishization of the victims. And there's so many examples of this. One example is that within my own family, when I was a kid, my father was extremely violent, and so the violence flowed constantly downhill. And the one time that my brother ever fought back, he got beaten far worse than any other time because, of course, he had committed blasphemy by sending violence up the hierarchy. That's one example. Another example is, I live where there's tons of bears near where I live, and I just love seeing them. Oh, it's so cool. A mother and baby bear actually fell asleep outside my mom's house the other day. And so cool, I was thinking about that afterwards. How many wild animals have I ever seen asleep? And, well, 2 bears. Maybe some grasshoppers, it's hard to tell. Anyway, but people, and I walk through the forest all the time. I walk through the forest at night with no lantern and all this stuff. And the Fed's going, he walks through the forest at night with no lantern. You can use that. Anyway, so I walk through the forest. I'm scared of the Feds, frankly, not the bears. Anyway, so I walk through the forest at night, and people go, oh my God, aren't you scared of the bears? I mean, they could attack or something. And I know that there is 1 person dies in North America every other year from bear attacks, and 46,000 Americans die every year because of automobile crashes. So we're scared of the wrong thing. I mean, we should walk through a parking lot and it's like, oh my God,
I actually find that pretty fucking funny because it's
most
just like...
of the people that get killed by wild animals, though, are complete fucking morons. There are these 2 guys that got chased by a cougar.
They're on bikes, right?
Yeah, one of them actually like gets off the bike and starts running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just try to outrun a fucking cougar. Never mind that, like, the fastest Olympic dude, like, ran about, what was it, like 26 miles per hour? That's not going to fucking outrun a cougar. You fucking idiot. He deserved to get fucking eaten.
Oh, my God.
Fuck him.
So
that
just
dumb?
Natural selection as finest, I suppose.
Whoa. It's such a surprise that the guy who actually had the common sense to be in a bicycle that was faster than him was the one guy who actually got out alive. Whoa.
Well, also, there was some bait, too. Oof.
Which was another, that guy, the bait.
Just all that silence. You need something.
But no, like, fuck that other guy. He deserves to get fucking killed. If he's gonna be that dumb... Like, if I was on my recumbent bike, I'd be fucking pedaling to the metal. I wouldn't just get up and then fucking run. What the fuck kind of shit is that?
Feel the cougar! I'm pedaling to the metal because of
Pedal to the
that.
fucking metal.
Well, it's like Derrick Jensen's about to do some crazy-ass dance. I don't know.
It looks like it's about to fucking beat the shit out of someone.
What the fuck?
That sound was so perfect.
Anyway, if you don't believe me about the violence is only allowed to flow one direction with that, the next time there's one of those, like the next time there's a big protest or something, maybe anti-war or anti-so-called free trade, whatever, just do an experiment, which is take a baseball bat, and then just walk up to one of the policemen and say, "Excuse me, Officer Friendly. Nothing personal. I'm just conducting an experiment." And hit him, and then hit him a couple more times real fast. And then
yeah, the crowd really jibes with that.
Somebody's going to take down your name. Okay, so anyway, and then I'll talk to you in about 50 years. Because you've committed blasphemy. You've sent violence up the hierarchy. Oh, and then I want to say one more thing about this, which is that then this is going to have to. Does anybody mind if I swear?
I guess the baby would.
I think that the word fuck
I don't know
is
how
the
they
most
brought a baby in this.
amazing word in the English language, because it's all of patriarchy condensed into 4 letters. Because the same word that means make love to means do great violence to. That's really, really twisted.
Oh, you mean fuck?
And it's also kind of confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, because somebody can say to me, like, "I'm going to fuck you." And I'm like... I need more information.
I need more information.
I mean, even within the context of a loving heterosexual relationship, this shows how deeply the objectification of women, goes within this culture and within our language, is even within the context of a loving heterosexual relationship, it's really hard to not have the woman get objectified. So the man says to the woman, "I would like to be inside of you." You know what just happened? She's the object of the sentence. Okay, on the other hand, the woman says to the man, "I would like for you to be inside me." You know what? She's still the object of the sentence. So the man says to the woman, "I would like for you to be around me." And she's like, "I'm sorry, can you speak English? I don't know what you want." Where it's like, okay for homosexuals to be in the military
I'm not
as long
drunk
as you
enough
don't
for that.
talk about it. I guess you can do whatever you want, just don't talk. Anyway, but,
God damn it. It's fucking great.
Which, by the way, I have to say full disclosure here.
It's kinda
I have to
right.
say that I actually agree.
It's a little
that homosexuals should
SJW-ish,
not
but
be
it's
allowed in the
actually the
military. I feel
only
very strongly, actually, that homosexuals should not be allowed in
point
the military.
where I actually
But that probably
kind
doesn't
of
mean as much
narrowly
as because I also
agree.
think that heterosexuals,
Yeah.
asexuals, the transgendered,
I kind of don't really have much of a
bisexuals
But I
opinion
find
on
it a
this.
little funny.
Now, overall, I don't necessarily have, I guess, like one opinion or the other, really. But I was about to get into his premise here.
Fifth premise. The property of those higher on the hierarchy is more valuable than the lives of those below.
That's, I actually kind of want to, this is actually something that I want to actually digress from real quick. Because I just remembered something on this one. The property of those on the hierarchy is more valuable than those of the lives below. Well, here, I'm going to pull something aside real quick. And not to pull Kyle Kalinske again, but I'm going to pull him up. Because he has a video clip that just kind of sums what this premise is. And by the way, the video I'm pulling up is Kylie Jenner's mega wealth will radicalize you. Which, by the way, it does.
Business Insider.
Okay, Kyle, we get it. We fucking get it.
I specifically avoided clicking that because I didn't want to go postal. And now you're going to make me go fucking postal.
Do you want to leave for a minute?
Congratulations.
No. Do you want to leave for a minute?
I guess I'll stick to the principle of free speech and actually look at
if
this.
you want, you can.
I'm not going to go SJW and get triggered from this like a faggot.
All right. Well, don't get too explosive then.
Around 155 million combined followers on Instagram and Twitter.
Ew.
Her huge social media following also brings in a hefty income for Kylie through sponsored posts. The
And you tell me that
estimated value of a
genocide's
single
wrong?
Post is $1 million.
It still is.
She's posted ads
No.
for Quay sunglasses, TV
Bro.
Blends detox tea.
Okay, hold on. There's not even enough rich billionaire fucks to have a genocide for one. Just I mean,
like a few thousand.
Nah, only like there's literally like 50 who have like more than 50% of the fucking wealth of the world. So I mean, just not that many.
We can make some entertainment out of that. Fun for the whole family.
Well, I'm just gonna mute it because I mean, it just kind of explains it.
So social media is also where we see how she spends her millions. Oh my God, the millions of dollars. In 2016, she purchased a house, a 1.4 acre Hidden Hills compound. Oh my God, which includes a 1,300 square foot, which is also for $12 million. Which, by the way, her tweets and Instagram posts are worth $1 million. So that means that this house is worth literally 12 tweets. Get on her level, bitch. Get on her level. Excuse me. Are you making money on your Twitter posts? I think not. I think not. You little slut. You little deprived slut.
I wish I had a fucking shot of Reka right now.
Goddamn right, man. I feel
2.
you. 5.
I'll make it 10 so I can fucking die.
Make it 20 so we can insure it. For me, too. Anyway, I just wanted to show that. Boom.
It is acceptable for those above to increase the amount of property they control.
Fuck income
in everyday
inequality,
language to make
dude.
money.
Yeah, this overall premise is basically it's just saying fuck income inequality. Because it's like, I mean, but honestly, though, for real, yeah, fuck income inequality. Like,
okay, I don't mind if someone makes more money than me as long as they do it in merit-wise. But, like, if they're a billionaire, like, it's fine if they're a millionaire, you know, from being an entertainer. I'm not bothered by it.
I don't...
But what the fuck kind of talent does Kylie Jenner have? She just stands there and looks pretty.
And
That's nothing.
And she's 22.
Like, she's our age. You know, fucking strippers do that. They just, go around and they look pretty. That's what a fucking stripper does.
And she's not even really that pretty. She looks like a fucking plastic Barbie doll.
Yeah, like, it's all like, plastic surgery. Also, she's that one fucking, piece of shit that also inspired that stupid internet challenge where people would, like, take a suction cup of some type, and then they were like...
What?
They like inflate their lips and then cause them to fucking bleed.
Wait, what?
Or like make them cut their circulation. Yeah, there's like this thing called the Kylie Jenner challenge where people.
Okay,
take a vacuum and then they would like.
I'm
they would
looking
pump
this
their
up right
lips up,
now.
and then they would like destroy their lips in the process. It is disgusting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
No.
It inspires people to literally fucking mutilate themselves.
Bro, fuck you, dude. You broke my brain.
That's all I know about her. It's like she's got giant fucking fish lips. Giant fucking fish lips, you know?
I'm physically... Oh, my God. I'm actually physically disgusted.
Yeah. It is disgusting.
I think I actually...
I need another fucking drink.
I think I might fucking puke, dude. I think I might. Like, dude, my stomach's not feeling good.
Go to the toilet.
No.
Could just be some of the booze.
No, dude. That was not the booze. Like, I'm going to drink some more just to prove it. Oh, that actually made me feel better. Yeah, see, told you, bitch. Oh, my God. All right.
By destroying or taking the lives of those below. This is called production. If those below damage the property of those above may kill or otherwise destroy the lives of those below. This is called justice.
I also kind of like to think about whistleblowers in a sense, too, because in a sense they're bringing, not necessarily violence, but I guess just on an overall sense, obstruction, to the process from the bottom up. Because, like, fucking people like Kylie Jenner, or Caitlyn Jenner, and fucking Edward Snowden, and et cetera.
Don't you mean, what's her fucking name? Chelsea Manning, you mean?
Why did I say fucking Caitlyn Jenner?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Why did I say Caitlyn Jenner?
You should get shot, bro.
I need to get shot.
I need to shoot you.
Shoot me.
Caitlyn Jenner has done nothing about that.
God
Like, who would let that buffoon in the fucking military? He is a fucking buffoon. He doesn't look like he's transitioning. He doesn't.
Oh my god, I can't.
He just looks like he just donned women's clothing. He doesn't look like he's taking hormones. He doesn't look like he's growing breasts. Just looks like a man in women's clothes.
Oh my god, I
And
can't.
I'm saying this as an LGBT advocate. I'd have any problem with transgender people. But fucking Caitlyn Jenner makes me sick.
I can't believe
Fuck him.
I can't believe I fucking I'm sorry, Chelsea Manning. I fucking met you. I fucking met Chelsea Manning. Oh no, I can't believe. Wow.
I know. I'm going too hard on you, man.
No,
I'm
it's
going too
okay.
bad.
It's okay. I deserve every moment of it. I deserve worse. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? I can't believe I let. Wow, what a horrible Freudian slip I just did. Jesus Christ. All right.
It's only because you just saw the horror, the horror of Kylie Jenner.
Yeah, Kylie Jenner broke me, dude.
It's a
I wasn't like this.
How
I wasn't like this until Kylie Jenner, dude. I can't believe. Well, I regret that.
it's a testament to how like too far gone this whole like celebrity culture has become.
Yeah,
it's disgusting. When people say they have celebrity crushes, you know what I say? Get a life. Get a fucking life, dude.
Oh my god.
Or take yours.
Like I was about to say. I had something I was gonna say. I totally forgot.
Because you're no
Damn.
different from the fucking neckbeard who's jacking off the pictures of Fluttershy. When you say you have a fucking celebrity crush.
Oof.
You're no different.
Oof. Wait. Okay. What about the furries and their yiff and shit?
You're no fucking different.
Well, fuck you. You bitch.
Sixth premise is the one that I sort of alluded to early on. This culture is not redeemable. The culture won't undergo any sort of voluntary transformation to a sane and sustainable way of living. If we don't put a halt to it, civilization, this culture will continue to eviscerate the vast majority of humans and to degrade the planet until civilization, and probably the planet, collapses. The effects of this degradation will continue to harm humans and non-humans for a very long time. Seventh premise.
Kind of slid by that last one pretty quick, but I think overall it actually is kind of agreeable.
So overall, the main thesis statement of this is that civilization fucking sucks.
Well, that's just a very kind of.
We enter the Stone Age where we throw our feces at each other. Andrew.
That's not what he.
I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
I know.
You're getting. You're also getting like the alcohol has.
Look out, Andrew.
What are you gonna do? Throw fucking wheathen at me? No. Anyway, I'll.
I guess technically I am throwing the wheat.
Anyway, if you want to like rant off a little bit, I'm gonna take a piss.
Oh, what I actually meant to say, non-straw man wise, it's basically saying, we need an alternative system than what we have. We need to form our societies based on renewable energy sources that we don't, I guess in some ways, overexploit. That we don't exhaust to the point where they can no longer renew themselves. And we don't need to go back to the Stone Age necessarily. I don't think we do. At least on a personal level, that's not the right thing to do. Because at this point, if we re-enter the Stone Age, we'd be worse off than, us already back in the Stone Age due to all the the fucking pollution that happened. But anyway, let's go back to what he's gonna he's saying. Just the fuck. Oh. Duh. I just had a brain fart there.
The culture won't undergo any sort of voluntary transformation to a sane, sustainable way of living. If we don't put a halt to it, civilization, this culture, will continue to immiserate the vast majority of humans and to degrade the planet until it, civilization, and probably the planet, collapses. The effects of this degradation will continue to harm humans and non-humans for a very long time. Seventh premise. The longer we wait for civilization to crash, or the longer we wait before we ourselves bring it down, the messier will be the crash, and the worse things will be for those humans and non-humans who live during it and for those who come after.
Oh, shit.
If somebody would have brought down civilization, whatever that means, 200 years ago, the longer we wait for...
So basically, this would encourage us to break it down, to voluntarily do things to break it down. So, dude, let's go fucking crazy.
The culture won't undergo any sort of voluntary transformation to a sane, sustainable way of living. If we don't put a halt to it, civilization, this culture, will continue to immiserate the vast majority...
I read ahead in class. I'm a naughty student. You better do something to punish me, teacher.
Oh, I just realized my mic was off that entire time. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. The longer we wait for the crash, or the longer we wait before we bring it down, the Mr. Well, pretty much like one of my only criticisms of it is I don't think, just doing shit on your own individual level is going to fix anything, or really not necessarily fix or bring it down any further. I think it's just going to I don't know. I don't think necessarily, waiting before we or, one person or us individually, to do that is going to necessarily make that happen any quicker. I mean, because I think there's a lot of, cases of people trying to, on some level, do that, but just doesn't happen. So, I mean, it's just going to happen naturally on its own time. It's just that whether it happens on a longer scale or a shorter scale is kind of relatively out of our control, honestly. That's kind of where my critique is on this. Is that any individual level of trying to bring it down is not necessarily going to bring it down. If anything, it just kind of makes everything overall worse before it goes down. I mean, that's just my main critique.
The longer we wait for civilization to crash, or the longer we wait before we ourselves bring it down, the messier will be the crash, and the worse things will be for those humans and non-humans who live during it and for those who come after. If somebody would have brought down civilization, whatever that means, 200 years ago, if Tecumseh would have won, then people in the East would still be able to eat passenger pigeons. I mean, never minding passenger pigeons' beautiful existence for themselves. If somebody would have brought down civilization 100 years ago, people in this region, through the crash, would still be able to eat salmon. There's going to be people sitting along the banks of the Columbia 50 years from now, and, well, they'll be glowing, for one thing, because of Hanford, and they'll also be starving to death, and they'll be saying, I'm starving to death because you allowed the dams to stand. God damn you. And
another little hint at that eco-terrorist thing I was talking about earlier.
But the dams are really important. They're necessary for the electricity to make it so safe Cofield. You can move the top back.
I mean, this is kind of actually where...
Well, I'll give it one thing. It's better than fucking oil.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, he acknowledges that it's... right here, he's doing it now. I mean, I just kind of pause in between it, but he's doing it now where he's acknowledging that, yeah, dams are obviously better, but because he's such a staunch environmentalist, more staunchly so than even me, I would say, to the point where it's just I don't even find these dams alone acceptable. I don't know what his overall position on environmental.
I can understand, because Celilo Falls used to be a very thriving place, thriving ecosystem where it was so easily accessible for the Celilo people to have salmon. and their community thrived on a resource.
And coincidentally, right after that, they
whose population, kept, renewing, and they knew how to, to basically allocate enough to where they could just eat themselves, and then also allow the salmon population to flourish as well. They knew how to do it. And, as soon as the Celilo Dam was made and they destroyed the Celilo Falls, it turned it into this giant eroded lake. And then
look on a map.
They just took advantage of the kinetic energy in order to, do the dam. It's out in the Dalles,
Yeah.
Sure. And I've been over there before. I don't know if that's how.
It really wrong.
Hey, you're butchering the shit out of the spelling. It doesn't. Google Maps doesn't even know what the fuck you're looking for. It's like, what? You're drunk. Go home.
I am, dude. It's near Dallas, so I know where it is. So I can just scroll myself way over there. There it is. The Dallas. I'm pretty sure it's this fucking thing right here. Let me get this satellite view. Nope, wrong way. Satellite view.
Satellite view.
Yeah.
Satellite view.
Right.
Yeah.
Shebang. Cool. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure this is kind of what they're talking about right here.
Hilarious is like there's this one dude. So like he was trying to go to Vancouver, Washington, and I was dumb for getting in his car because he was drunk and he was driving. He lied to me.
Oh yeah.
This motherfucker lied to me about being sober, and I should have known that he was not sober enough to drive. But I was also pretty drunk myself.
Also, here, I'm just going to go down the Columbia River from Portland.
This dude was trying to go to Vancouver, Washington, and he drove all the way east to the fucking Dalles.
Wow.
The fucking Dalles.
Here, I'm just going to go from the edge of
Google
Portland.
Maps instructions.
Here's the edge of Portland, right? All right, I'm just going to go down, and we're just going to go list off the dams.
He's in the car. Oh, God damn it. What am I going to die?
Here's three alone right here. Here's 3 dams. 3, 4. That's a bridge. Nope. 3 so far. It's going to just kind of keep going down. Oh. Is that a bridge? That's a bridge. Okay. I'm just kind of going down the Columbia. And here's Dalles. So there's the 4th dam. Let's just keep going. Just keep going. That's a bridge. 5th dam.
That one's girthy as fuck, dude. Look at that.
Yeah, this one's pretty... yeah, this is the John Day Dam right there, yeah. So that's the 5th one.
Girth in that. Oh.
Yeah, that's the 5th. I'm still going down the Columbia, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. 6th dam. There's 6 dams on the Columbia, and that is Umatilla near Plymouth. And that is, in comparison to Portland, there's Portland right there. That's Umatilla. So, yeah. There's 5 dams on the
I keep forgetting how fucking massive Oregon really is.
Yeah, because honestly, like, here's where... All right, so this is where the end of Oregon is right here. So Oregon has 5 dams on the fucking Columbia. And I don't think all those dams are necessarily Oregon's. I'm sure, like, down there near, like, where those 3 dams were, over here, I'm pretty sure, like, this one's Washington, this one's probably...
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm sure, like, not all of them are just fucking, Oregon's.
There are parts, in Oregon, Washington.
I mean, imagine,
it, like, serves as a border.
I mean, imagine how fucking massive this fucking river must be. I mean,
the gorge, that's exactly
look at
how
it.
it's
I mean, you can just look at
it's
it.
It's a border line between those two.
Let me just do it on just a map here. So, like, look how fucking tiny it is here, and then once you start, like, the farther and farther you go, the wider it gets. Like, imagine how fucking big this river actually was back, before all... Like, imagine how big all this was, probably, all this. I mean, without all these dams. I mean, I'm not saying that, like, they're, they're all part, I'm not saying I necessarily even agree with Derrick Jensen. We should just blow this shit up. You know what I mean? But it's just, like, overall, it's just, like, I mean, this does... There is an impact to be had when it comes to the ecosystem of this whole river that, I mean, it goes from fucking Astoria to where? All the way from like Trinidad, Rock Island. It just keeps fucking going. It goes from the Chilean Falls. It's still going. It just keeps on going. It goes out this way. Look how fucking huge. It goes up here. So the Columbia River is fucking massive. It just goes it goes from fucking Canada? The Columbia River goes for Canada?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh my God.
Let's actually go to the end, dude. I want to.
No, this is the end right here.
Oh, okay. So
Zuckerberg Island part. So here's the end. So Columbia.
Basically, it goes to like
Columbia.
It forks, or I guess not forks, but like.
So the Columbia basically becomes the
like
upper
triple
Arrow
forks.
Lake. That's basically what the Columbia River. So the Columbia River is fed from the upper Arrow Lake. That's where
all the way up in Canada. Dude.
So the Columbia River starts at Upper Arrow Lake up here, and wow.
This is just our drunk geography.
Okay, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I never knew that fucking Columbia River went up to Canada. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I legit did not know that.
It's surprising to me. That's
wow.
Quite awesome, actually.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, put that into fucking perspective. Oops, I accidentally took out that. Oops, okay. Anyway. But yeah,
Reminds me of those lyrics from that band called Architects. Every river flows into the sea. It's a metaphor for like, it's actually a really like sad album because like the guy is grieving the loss of his brother.
Yeah,
because he died of something.
Whoa, that's a cool name for a bridge of the gods.
Oh yeah, I think I've been there before.
Oh, I've been here too. I remember taking a pit stop here when I was driving from Montana back in like May or some shit. But yeah, anyway, I just kind of wanted to put that stuff into perspective in comparison to
Far
this.
too bad. That's the only form of veneration or respect we ever gave to the Celilo people.
Gave them a damn.
Fourth, they're necessary to smelt aluminum for beer cans. Anyway, so the longer we wait, I mean, if somebody would have brought down civilization 100 years ago, we wouldn't have to worry much about global warming, and we wouldn't have to worry about the toxification of the total environment with pesticides. We wouldn't have to worry about dioxin in every mother's breast milk. I mean, if 50 and 75 years from now, are people going to be going, if somebody would have brought it down 75 years ago, we'd still have amphibians. If somebody would have brought it down 75 years ago, we would still have, well, someone would have brought it down 15 years ago. They'll be saying 15 years from now, we'd still have sturgeon. It's like, how long? At what point? What's the threshold? 100 years from now, it's like we'd still have, name it. We'd still have oceans. Air to breathe. That's not one of my.
I mean, overall, I actually really do agree with this premise here because, or at least what he's talking about here, because, like, what really is the threshold? I'm not just talking about humanity's sake, but just the Earth's sake.
Well, yeah, just the life on Earth.
Because, a lot of this overall talk about climate change, which he this is another slip of the premises, not openly, but kind of underlying, is this whole effect of global warming or climate change. I mean, back then it was far more commonly called global warming, but nowadays it's more like climate change. But anyway, it's like, what's the threshold before like our species is unable to adapt or unable to sustain itself in a drastically different climatized world where it's unable to, like, we're already seeing it now, like, where there's a lot of rising temperatures, acidity in the ocean waters and shit. Because, yeah, we might still have air to breathe and, oceans and shit like he's talking about, but, I mean, why he's kind of taking long pauses because he's thinking about, like, well, yeah, we do, but it's not going to be necessarily how they are. They're going to be way worse. They're going to be fundamentally fucking, like the ocean, like, with the acidity, like, a lot of the rising temperatures and a lot of the heat causes bleaching in coral, and with the carbon emissions being absorbed in the oceans, it causes more acidity, which causes the ecosystems in the oceans to drastically change because they're not used to so much acidity in the water. So it's just like there's so many impacts besides just rising sea levels, that, happen due to climate change and shit. And it's just something I think honestly doesn't really get brought up enough as to more bigger impacts like the acidity and all this other shit. I mean, because it's like, oh fuck, yeah, we might still have this, but is it really gonna like sustain us, and is it gonna also sustain the ecosystems for us to survive and for other life to survive? I mean, which is overall not. It's looking like we're not doing anything to fix that. If anything, make it worse. I mean, it's not just on a national level; it's just on a global level too. Like, I mean, a lot. I mean, one thing the right likes to use as rebuttal is like, well, what about third world nations? You're trying to make the U.S. try to do shit, but what about like Bangladesh and stuff like that in India? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, they're a fucking problem too. It's just like what they're doing is like, when it comes to like litter and pollution and shit, like. There's a lot of fucking problems that don't mean that, to some level they're probably not addressing. Like, I remember seeing a fucking article. I think Deep Fat Fried on Flash Fried fucking covered it, where it's like India is actually going ahead of thresholds when it comes to certain aspects of climate change. Like, they're meeting ahead of thresholds when it comes to solar energy and stuff. So, I mean, they're actually, to some extent, say what you want, they're making more progress than we are. I mean, so it's just like... I mean, it's a whole global effort when it comes to these type of things. I mean, that's like, I think, one thing that people forget, which is I think so fucking stupid that people go after people like Greta Thunberg and shit, because like she's some fucking Swedish Scandinavian chick, who's at best a fucking high schooler still, I think, and it's just like. And people
still understands that, like, this world right now is going to shit, and she could see around
honestly,
her.
Like, one of the
why the fuck are people not doing anything about it?
You want to know one thing that has been used as like a thing against her is like, oh, she's autistic, so she's mentally ill and stuff like that, so she doesn't really like.
That's like a personal insult to both of us.
I mean, yeah, it's just like really, it's just like just because she has these things. And, these problems, and also, also society or whatever has a weird, all this shit.
I guess none of Einstein's theories really hold any water then, huh? Because he was a fucking autist, too.
Yeah, if anything.
Like his behavior, like, he wasn't, like, necessarily diagnosed with it back then. But, like, when historians look back at the way he behaved, they, like, his, the signs that he showed, they traced to Asperger's and autism.
Yeah.
It's highly likely that he was just like that,
Yeah.
He was autistic.
Premises, but that's something that if I would have thought of it when I was writing the book would have been one of the premises, which is the primary, if not only measure by which we'll be judged by those who come after is going to be the health of the land base. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we voted Democrat, Republican, Green, Anarchist, didn't vote at all. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we recycled. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we were violent or nonviolent. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we're nice people or not nice people. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we wrote great books or made great films or did great talks or anything else. They're going to care about whether they can breathe the air and drink the water. We can all fantasize whatever we want about some groovy eco-socialist utopia with free love everywhere. Mm-hmm. It doesn't fucking matter if you can't breathe the air and can't drink the water.
Yep.
And the only measure, I mean, it's embarrassing to say this, but the only measure by which any generation will be judged is the health of the land base that they pass on.
Yeah. I mean, this is like another overall thing. I mean, this is kind of like a weird, subtle critique that might bring on the nukes, which is also kind of Paul Eagle's thing of bring on the nukes philosophy, is that, oh, well, like, I mean, the future generations with the collapse aren't going to give a shit whether this thing or that thing or we did this or did that or whatever happens. They just care if, like, the environment that they're living in, they're going to be able to survive in. Which includes that clean water and the clean air to breathe and, just
and if we can't, they're going to blame us. They're going to blame us.
And honestly, rightly fucking so.
Yeah.
Because they don't care that.
Angry at us.
Yeah, they're not going to care that, people like me, bitched about it. They're not going to care that, there were people who are blindly ignorant about it. They're not going to care that, people, made a bunch of fucking art, critiquing this and that or whatever the fuck, or just trying to express it. They're not gonna care about any of that. They just want to be able to fucking move forward themselves and try to, adapt and evolve, with what they have.
Just breathe.
Exactly.
To
just survive.
fucking breathe. To basically exist.
Yeah.
That's all they care about. Did we actually give them an environment that allows them to fucking exist?
And this is where I
kind of
and this is where a lot of my philosophy delves into a lot of the aspects of Native Americans and shit. Because I kind of learned this when the whole No Dapple movement happened back in 2015. Is that I remember in some fucking interview there was this Native American talking about how, at least in their specific tribe, but they said it was a very broad Native American idea, was that the care for the environment was so important, so vital that you should care for it so much to where you make sure that it's good for the next 7 generations, not just not just their kin, but their kin, and then 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 their kin. It's just the next 7 gen. Not the very next gen, but the next 7. They made a very big notion of make sure you actually care. As you were mentioning earlier, with the whole kind of the biblical notion of being sheriffs of the land. They made a big, at least of this. I forgot. I think it was pretty sure it was Lakota Sioux, but
they were better shepherds of the earth than any Abrahamist religion ever fucking was. In fact, they actually contributed to the destruction of many of the world's
honestly,
environments.
if there's one thing you should take away from Native American culture and traditions is those type of things. Their environmentalist outlook and shit. Because
far ahead of our time.
Yeah, their mentality, was definitely.
Their technology definitely wasn't
Yeah,
par.
at the,
They didn't need that kind of technology.
Yeah,
they didn't need
because at a consequence, of that philosophy, they, didn't need to advance so much, and honestly, in a weird way, there's probably a bliss to it, but because we're in the society that we are in now, we have to try to adapt so we can try to combine these type of ideas. At least that's my kind of philosophy, is try to combine these type of mentalities.
Remember on one of the streams when I showed you the part in Deuteronomy that said any crops that are not the same crop will be confiscated?
Yep.
Because they believe in monoculture, which would actually genetically weaken the fucking crops.
And also become a fucking buffet for bugs like locusts and shit.
Or other viruses that will take advantage of this. That's the fucking potato famine happened.
That's how
potato famine
I'm
was
sure.
caused
I can
by
guarantee
that kind of
you
mentality.
the Dust Bowl happened because of that type of.
Yeah. So you could actually blame Christianity on hurting the environment.
Dude, I went to the dispensary last week, and they were playing a documentary on their TV, and happenstance happened to talk about this type of thing because the whole it was some Netflix documentary. I forgot what they did.
So if we're actually, I'm gonna argue this. If we can actually progress as a human species, we need to reject all Abrahamic ideas.
Just religious ideas on a broader sense, but that's
we
just
need
kind
to
of
reject all of that. Any idea of the God of Abraham or of Jesus or of Muhammad or of bringing women below men and
Or
forcing
Saint
them to
Mary
have,
or whatever the fuck.
fucking hoods or burqas covering their hair. We need
and
to
also-
reject all of it.
I mean, also-
even if it means killing every
Sure,
single last fucking person who practices that savage mentality. Fuck them all. We need to burn the
Good God. Okay, well, all right then. On we go.
That brings us to the 8th premise of the book. The needs of the natural world are more important than the needs of the economic system. The needs of the natural world are more important than the needs of the economic system. Thanks.
Honestly, I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory because, the economic system that we built up is just arbitrary. It's just something that we built up as this meaningless kind of thing to build up of how we produce our society and how we sustain ourselves. It's just an arbitrary fucking thing. It's as if, maybe if we just change this arbitrary, meaningless thing into something that's a little, at least something more sustainable, but nonetheless just same arbitrary and whatever, maybe it would just be a little, maybe we can at least survive better, as a species and shit. I mean, because our current economic system especially is what's killing us overall. And, that's hence why, like, it's the overall natural. Yeah, that's another
it's not
point
even
I do
that
agree.
efficient.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly,
Like,
too.
even for the reasons it's held up, it's not even that efficient.
Yeah.
Because we can amass all these frivolous material possessions, and I see it in every middle class house. You got video games, you got fucking toys
even me too,
in there.
because I got video games and shit.
But like,
nice invest money in that shit.
What do you have that actually means? Has any intrinsic value?
Yeah, because
scarcely a fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean,
you
you
don't
and
got
I,
a lot of space either.
Yeah, I mean, also you and I are kind of guilty of this too. I mean,
yeah.
Because I mean, I fucking
Well,
like.
we have some things that pretty good.
Yeah,
but like,
sure.
At what expense though?
Exactly.
Is it at the expense of the next 7 generations?
I mean, not only that, but think about people of today too. Like, the fucking Xbox One that I have right next to my fucking screen. Like, that's covered by my hat. Like, I mean, like, that shit is probably built by some fucking damn near slave wage, or at least or practically in fact, slave working, worker fucking who knows where, China probably, but, anywhere, at that point.
China, Indonesia,
Bangladesh, who knows? But
Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anywhere. I mean, in all these fucking places. I mean, it's just like, I mean, at what expense does it come, And I feel like there's a part of me, and maybe it's just some fool's blissfully ignorant idea, but, there's a part of me that thinks, like, these type of things can be attainable without this inherent, utter bullshit exploitation.
For one thing, we need to stop fucking outsourcing the jobs to other countries.
Well, yeah, that's
and actually have products, and, they try to make it like a loophole and say, like, made in America, yeah, we'll just have our allies make it.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah. Like, fuck you. Made in America means made in the fucking land of America. God damn it, Not, or the Turks made it. The Turks made it. The British made it.
Or the Mexicans, or the Canadians, or the
last time I checked geography, Britain, Indonesia, they're not in the United States. Last time I checked, they're not there. Does Indonesia look like the fucking United States to you? It's just simple geography. Even a fucking idiot, even a fucking retard can understand that.
Intense, Jesus.
Have the jobs here. Manufacture things here. It's simple.
Getting tense. Holy fuck.
That's just pure drunken rage. If there was a dude, if I was in a fucking bar right now, I'd be in a political debate, and if he's getting all rowdy, chances are he'd probably get more physical before I would, but I'd fucking fight him as hard as I could.
Oh my god.
Even over politics. Like, fuck you! Bernie's the best candidate! Take this fucking fist in your face, you Pete Buttigieg supporting piece of shit! Or like Warren, like I fucking spit in his face, and I kick him in his balls.
Oh my god.
Fucking gouge his eyes out right there. Like, Bernie!
Oh, Jesus. Oh my god. Holy shit. Fuck.
I think
oh my
I remember
god.
back in some government buildings, some politicians would get so passionate that they'd actually fucking beat the shit out of each other because they're making decisions that affect the rest of these people's lives. That actually affect common people's lives. So there's a lot at stake.
All right. We're on the same level.
Like, we need to bring that shit back.
Oh my god.
We need to get like We
Chill.
need like AOC to hire
Chill.
personal bodyguards. So then, like, if someone's
Oh my
like,
God.
you know, if she's like, you know, she has
Chill,
the
chill,
argument,
Jesus.
she's got the data to back her claims, and then like, you know, some guy's like not willing to comply to something that's clearly within the Constitution because she's not gonna do anything that violates the Constitution.
I'm just gonna lower the volume because holy fuck, dude, you're so loud. Jesus.
You know,
God damn.
I think because people are gonna try to attack her. I think, you know, I hope it
No
doesn't happen.
if no one's done it by now, no one's gonna do it ever. Like, that ain't happening. Holy fuck.
Maybe that's what they want you to think.
Nah, that's
You think
not
maybe
happening.
Bernie got a heart attack? You know, there's this actual gun the CIA made, which has like ice bullets, which has this toxin from pufferfish.
No,
And it causes people to have heart attacks.
Bernie didn't get shot. Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ. Don't go into that. Oh my fucking
I'm
God.
kidding about that part, but I mean, like, it's
You better
obvious that the
fucking-
establishment
oh,
doesn't
my-
want them to say, you know, to dissent against them.
Holy shit. All
And
right.
they're gonna get desperate when they know that they can't do anything else.
Do you need a fucking like indica like smack down to your face to chill you out? Holy shit! You just went from like
No, I think the rest of fucking I think Nancy Pelosi needs one. She needs a fucking literal snack down.
she just. Oh my God! Wow, we've just like totally. All right, well. All right, well. Do I even want to? Okay, do I even want to go into this fucking thing here, or to wrap it up with, or do I? You know what? I'm gonna let you decide. You want to like look at this last little thing, or do we want to like?
Fuck it, we might as well.
Or do you want to do this? Just like a little bit more of this.
I think most of the audience kind of already gets what he's going at, though.
With the Derrick Jensen. All right.
So, what kind of retardation is Trump up to?
All right. Well, hey, if y'all, all right, for the audience, at least if you want to check out Derrick Jensen shit, yeah, Deep Green videos, kind of where it's at. Okay, I think later I think I might check out some of his videos, so do a little reaction too. But anyway, I'll switch some scenes around. There we go. Anyway, so this is kind of some impeachment shit that kind of pulled. Trump's Doral G7 self-deal is worthy of impeachment all on its own. Donald Trump has flagrantly abused the power of his law. Of course. Anyway, acting White House chief making Mulvaney. Whatever. Well, I'm kind of regretting this already. So on Thursday, that the president selected his own Trump Doral Golf Resort as his. Basically, he's using his property where he's going to make fucking money.
And he's using public funds for his private interests.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, this is old news, dude. Like, and also at this rate, it's like, I feel like a special ed kid would probably do a better job than he would.
Probably.
I mean, like, you know, there's no substance in Donald Trump. You might
Look
as
at
well
those
just
hands.
have someone at the podium going,
Oh my God. That loud. Fuck. I'm gonna smack you.
That's seriously.
I'm gonna smack you
It
if
would
you
be
at
just
least don't
as
take it.
entertaining.
Fuck.
For the most, like, and then the media would also react to it. Yeah, I don't really agree with retard Mick shut the fuck up's point on this issue. And here's why I disagree with it because
Don't be that fuck. Shut up. Jesus
how it
Christ.
is. Like, that's all I hear now.
Anyway.
There's no substance. There's no like fucking.
Anyway, we get it. We fucking. Oh my God.
It's retardation, just pure retardation.
All right. So what else does this stupid shit say? I don't know why I'm going for this anyway. One strategy initiative. Word modeling. What? Famous standard. Football. It's just basically talk. I mean, it's overall. I mean, just so much shit to impeach him on. Honestly, like, just like the whole Saudi shit. with the genocide deals that there's whole
Oh, the
Turkey
Yemen.
shit. Yeah, Turkey shit.
There's some actual legitimate shit that we could actually concentrate on, but the mainstream media always focuses on the weakest, most retarded points.
Yeah.
That
and also
would just only further embolden him.
Yeah, and also they just I mean, the whole Ukrainian thing is just such a weakest fucking point. Why they have to go for that? Like, why? Just why can't you all just like go if you're gonna do it fucking right? You know? Like, Jesus, it's like absurd. Ugh. I regret even going for this. You know, I actually kind of you know what? I want to at least have like a fucking somewhat interesting note. I mean,
this is why I actually think
I'm gonna find a video.
Media wants Trump to win again.
Real time bear. Oh shit, there is an actual bear behind.
And I actually think that like the DNC wants Trump to win too. They secretly want it, but they're not willing to admit it.
Basically, I mean, with that pretty much is just like, oh well, his face there. But like pretty much it's just like, oh, well, as long as if we can't get our candidate in, well, at least with Trump, you'll get some of the shit we want. So, you know, it's just kind of like, oh, well, as long as we can, you know, get a little bit of our way, you know, we'll be good. But it's just like, that's not like, it's just like, I mean, it's just so stupid because it's like, it's just corrupt bullshit as usual, you know?
Because they're doing, you know, exactly what they say they don't want to do. You know, they're appearing to hurt their own cause. Like, oh no, I'm incompetent. It's like when a fucking athlete in the NBA or like, you know, NFL or any of that stupid shit that I don't watch normally. Because like, you know, fans of that kind of shit, when they try to show me, they'll show me clips of like athletes faking injuries, so then they can get pity.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, get out of the game or like get other. You know, it's kind of exactly what the DNC is doing as far as politics goes. They're like, oh, we don't want Trump to win. And then they further embolden his campaign, look fucking like a bunch of fucking faggots that don't know what to do. And then Trump's like, you're a bunch of faggots who don't know what to do. I'm going to win because you guys suck. Oh, we suck. Oh, we're a bunch of beta cucks. And then he fucking wins. And they let him win. That's the kind of shit that they do. You know?
Yeah, basically.
It's just the same. You know, of what those athletes do when they fake injuries.
Pretty much, yeah.
They just throw the game.
Anyway, let's at least end it with some decent fucking interesting note. Whoa, I didn't expect this. Whoa, hold up, fam. Oh, comments are turned off? That's a bummer. Anyway, I thought I would at least kind of check out one of this guy's videos, you know, just kind of see what's up. It's been a while since.
Okay, there are going to be spoilers aplenty in this, so if you don't like spoilers, don't watch this one. The spoilers are going to be about, well, I'm going to tell you right now, the ending of every movie about environmental resistance stinks every single time. And this is whether it's a documentary or whether it's a piece of fiction.
I expected.
Like Food Inc. I thought was a really good movie up until the end.
Well, I actually did not expect that. Talking about movie endings. I thought he was talking about like endings to something totally different. But fuck it, you know. Let's just check it out.
About how agribusiness is destroying the land. It's about how it's destroying communities, how it's destroying nutrition. They do a really good job of laying out the problem. And then their solution, one of their solutions, I'm not kidding, is that you should buy organic yogurt at Walmart. I'm not making that up. And
fucking kill me.
Okay, that's fine. Wow. Organic yogurt at Walmart, really?
Man, if it were that simple.
Sponsored by Walmart.
If it were that fucking simple, I'd look like Chris Christie. Eating all that fucking yogurt. like a faggot.
Every
I look
movie
like
ends
Chris
this way.
Christie.
You can have this movie about how, I mean, an inconvenient truth lays out global warming, and then the solution: put more air in your tires, switch your light bulbs. This is the whole bright green movement too. Is global warming could wipe out humans. Oh gosh, what do we do? Let's switch to windmills. Let's switch to solar. Those aren't solutions to a problem of civilization killing the planet. And what is sparking this right now is I just watched the movie A Woman at War. And I know a lot of people whose opinions I really respect who love the movie. And I'm going to give you the plot of the movie. So if you...
Well, yeah, kind of this is part of what he's talking about is like some of the milquetoast just policies that are fucking pushed all the time with the whole environmental thing. Just kind of used as just kind of a marketing scheme, basically, which I just kind of find like, I mean, honestly, I kind of agree with. It's just like these milquetoasts, like, oh, let's do like carbon emission this, and let's just add solar panels. There's all the blah blah. It's just like that don't fucking work. That ain't a goddamn solution. It just mitigates it. And I'm not looking to just mitigate it. I'm looking for fucking solutions. Feel me? It's just like, why do we have to like, just like expect like, oh, if we do solar panels and then cut emissions by this, we'll be just fine. It's just like, no, not no. That's just
It's like when they say, oh, let's use natural gas, or maybe we can use that light bulb that we made that artificially makes oil, but we're still gonna send carbon emissions into the fucking air.
Yeah.
Damn moron. Oh, I had my mic off. But yeah, it's like, let me rephrase that then, since I have my mic off like a fucking drunken idiot. But it's like,
good one.
When you have people that point out, oh, but we just genetically engineered a life form that can artificially reproduce oil. Okay, but we're still sending carbon emissions in the fucking air. So does that really help in the grand scheme of things?
Nope.
Let me give you a fucking hint. Fuck no. I thought my delivery might be better, but you kind of
beat you to it.
So if you're going to go see the movie, and you don't want spoilers, then stop right now. This is your last chance. 1, 2, 3, last chance. Okay. So the movie starts off great. There's this woman who notches an arrow. I mean, she puts an arrow, she pulls back the arrow and shoots it over power lines, and the arrow is attached to a cord, and the cord is attached to metal, and then she pulls and pulls and pulls until she's able to bridge the 3 power lines with the metal and short them out. And she knocks out the electricity to, looks like aluminum smelter or some sort of factory. And this is great. I mean, it's a great beginning. And then she goes through, I mean, it ends up that she's done this several times. Everybody's on alert. It's like, what's going on? And there's a lot of the movie is the police are trying to catch her. And then we're going to add another thing. She has a twin sister who this is going to end up just like Tale of Two Cities. She has a twin sister who is very much into yoga. So we have the conflict between sort of the meditation yoga and the acting and the action. One sister is very active. The other sister is very much into self-improvement. And there's a really nice exchange where the active sister says to the non-active sister, the meditating sister, your meditation doesn't actually help the planet. And
active sister,
then the
not active sister, and then the active sister.
The person writes a manifesto. The active sister writes a manifesto, and she's going to, and she releases it, and it gets spread all over. They show some people reading this and looking interested. And then the government spins it that she's a terrorist who wants to kill everybody, and it ends up that is the dominant narrative that takes the day. So she's very disappointed with the release of her narrative. Meanwhile, 4 years ago, she applied to be to adopt an orphan from Ukraine whose parents were killed in the fighting there, and she just finds out right now that she got accepted, and she hadn't even thought about it for a couple years. She thought, since she didn't hear from them, that it was all done with. So now she's faced with the choice of helping this child. And again, I'm going to spoil everything. She, so far the movie's going along fine. I have some problems, some stylistic problems. I would have cut a lot. Every time it shows her doing Tai Chi, cut, you're not actually advancing the plot.
Wow.
and I would have
Okay.
used that for
That's just filler.
some other
Taichi's
to bring up some other subplots. Anyway, she eventually gets caught, and then her sister comes in. I know this is pretty hokey, but her sister comes in to visit and has arranged for the power to be knocked out to a prison.
I'm a poet and I don't
They got
know
generators, but leave that aside. The power to be knocked out to the prison, so nobody can see them for like 5 seconds. They switch clothes at the sister's insistence, and then her sister, who was going to go off and meditate for 2 years, is now instead going to just meditate in prison for 2 years because she's pretending. They're identical twin sisters. She's pretending to be her sister. And the other one goes out and gets the child, goes to Ukraine, gets the child, and then things are terrible in Ukraine. She gets on a bus with the child, and it's flooding, and the bus gets stuck in water that's too deep. And then the final shot of the movie is that they get out of the bus, and she is walking along through this interminable flood, this apocalyptic flood, carrying the child. And it's very clear, and that's the end of the movie. And it's very clear that, and what he's saying is, the bus fails, technology is going to fail, and we will be left walking through this flood. Noah's flood that destroys the world, and she is literally carrying the future. She's carrying a child. It's some very clear symbolism, and
I was about to skip it, but then he was starting to get into that. I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, I don't know what movie he's talking about, to be honest. I kind of forgot the movie, but it sounds interesting. I'm actually kind of like trying to imagine some of this. I'm like, whoa, crazy shit. It's crazy, man. It's crazy shit. But there's another one, Sociopath as Heroes. Damn.
I feel like the YouTube algorithm is also like turning comments off.
I feel like this is probably here. Let me go on this random video.
Because at first I thought it would
we need to.
It might have been other YouTube channels that did that on their own. From like people running those YouTube channels. But then I also heard of some YouTubers saying oh well they were complaining about YouTube comments being turned off in some of their videos.
Interesting. I haven't had that problem myself.
So I feel like
maybe
YouTube is trying to do that.
Maybe.
In certain videos. And I'm like, well, or at least the algorithm is automatically deciding to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why? What the fuck are they doing?
Subvert the content that, is against their narrative, basically. But, yeah.
It's fucking despicable.
I love Paul Ziegel's glorious face. Just right there. Boom.
I'm sure
Amazing.
If they had absolute power over everything, people like us would be fucking dead. We'd be fucking dead.
We don't do anything to disrupt.
Or we'd be in prison.
We don't do anything to overall obstruct the system, so they don't really give a fuck about us.
No, we don't, but we dissent against them, and that's what they don't like. If they had absolute power over everything, we'd be in prison at least.
Yeah, probably at that point.
Or it'd be dead.
Because of thought crimes.
Yeah, thought crimes.
Yeah, but
I think Voltaire said it right. If you want to know who rules, you got to find out who you're not allowed to criticize.
In a sense, yeah.
Well, of course.
It's not I want to say that's 100% true, but
well, no, it's not 100% true, but it's still it still continues to communicate a point because most people don't really want to criticize child cancer patients.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they're oppressing us. It doesn't mean we should get our fucking pitchforks and attack child cancer patients. That would be fucked up.
What the fuck?
Because that would be fucked up. But let's not do that.
Please.
But you can understand.
Let's not.
That Voltaire quote gives, it allows you to get in his headspace. It allows you to, use your brain, use your noggin, and, understand the cultural context of what was happening at the time. And, understand not only the literal words that he's using, but what he means by them. I'm simplifying it as best as I can.
I don't think you really necessarily need to. But yeah.
It's a very drunken simplification.
Yeah. Well, shit. Well, holy fuck. Wow, we've been actually recording for 3 fucking hours.
2 a.m. Where is it?
It's
like,
3 o'clock, dude, because we've been recording for nearly 2 to 3 hours. Anyway,
Christ.
because we've been going on for so long, I think I'm just gonna like forcibly cut shit off now.
End it all.
All right. Well, I'm gonna mute you if.
Kill me.
I'm just muting you now. You're muted. I have suppressed your speech. Anyway, so you could walk that home. Shut up. Anyway, so you can go shove that to Voltaire, bitch. Anyway, but yeah, I'm probably gonna like go take a piss and go to bed and shit. And you I don't know why I'm telling my plans after this, but anyway, drunken stupid. But I hope you enjoyed whatever there is to enjoy out of this. This.
I hope you don't do that in the wrong order.
I'm doing that in the correct order. Fuck you. Anyway, so.
Good.
Wow. A little late on the response, but.
You gotta take a piss, go to bed. Don't go to bed.
Shut up. Anyway. Hope y'all enjoyed. And without further ado, Peace out and everything, but also check out Derrick Jensen if you are actually kind of interested in some of his stuff. He's kind of an interesting little rambler too, in a sense. But anyway, but whatever. I'm a rambler too, but
we're all ramblers.
Yeah.
He rambles.
But
So does he.
Enjoy yourselves and get the fuck out of here, you son of a bitch.